will the emotions be like at the Emirates tonight? Arsenal, will they remind us why they've led the league for so long this season? Or will their collapse in the title race turn into complete self-destruction? Fingers crossed for a cracking London derby. London is red. A huge banner unfurled across the stadium. Live in exclusive here on Talksport in the company of former Chelsea FA Cup winner Scott Minto, Arsenal League winner Perry Groves and my champion Sam Matterface.
History, eh? Everyone loves a bit of history. History tells us that Manchester City are going to be difficult to stop now. History tells us Arsenal wobble. History tells us that going back to an old flame isn't always the best decision. Mikel Arteta's team will go top tonight with a win, but history tells us it will probably be short-lived. Their defeat to Manchester City last Wednesday felt defining, but the manager will have reminded his players that nothing is definite yet. Frank Lampard has history with Chelsea. He's one of their greatest ever players, their greatest goal scorer. But despite walking in to help salvage a sorry situation, he's been unable to stop the ship from sinking. Chelsea have history with ending North London title tilts. They were having a rubbish season when they killed off Tottenham's hopes in the Battle of the Bridge. Can they rouse themselves and make history repeat itself tonight? Or will Arsenal, dejected and down a week ago, retool and realise that although the past suggests that their task is a forlorn one, there is a possibility that they can make history too. What if? Team news, a couple of changes for Arsenal, 3 in fact. Jorginho's in, Kivior's in, so is Trossard from the team that were beaten by Manchester City in those red-bodied jerseys with white sleeves and white shorts. They'll attack the goal away to our right, the clock end, which is belting out the Arsenal anthem prior to kick-off. Ramsdale, the goalkeeper, White, Kivior, Gabriel Zinchenko, Jorginho, Ødegaard, Xhaka, Saka, Jesus and Trossard. Chelsea in blue attacking from right to left. Have Kepa in goal, Azpilicueta, Fofana, Thiago Silva and Chilwell. Conte, Fernandes and Kovacic. Madueke and Sterling flanking the man, Mikel Arteta, stripped of the Arsenal captaincy. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who's starting his first game in Chelsea colours in the Premier League since November the 6th. Live on Talksport, Rob Jones gets us off and underway, and we start with the second of 4 big nights of action from the Premier League. Tomorrow night we've got live and exclusive coverage of the game between Manchester City and West Ham. On Wednesday night we'll also be bringing you Liverpool against Fulham, and then Thursday night we relocate to the south coast for Brighton against Manchester United. Chelsea on the attack straight away with Sterling going forward down the left-hand side. Fernandes picks it up, right for the shot, blocked by Jorginho, and then the ball breaks over the halfway line and Saka races away down the right side, gets into the midpoint of the Chelsea half. He takes on Chilwell, who's backpedaling, cuts in left-footed, tries to get a shot away, takes a deflection, almost came back to Ødegaard. It missed by N'Golo Conte, who air kicks the ball clear, and then Gabriel steams forward just in front of the goal away to our right-hand side. It comes back to Jorginho, out towards this near side. It's collected by Ben White, and it's a fast start to the game, Scott Minto.
To be fair, that's what we're expecting. I think we got two teams wanting to win for very different reasons, same systems. I think the midfield battle is going to be absolutely fascinating, and I also think it can be won out on the wing. So yeah, it's been a really good start.
Arsenal's breakaway there, Sam. If I was Frank Lampard, I'd be telling Thiago Silva to get a little bit closer to Jesus, because when Arsenal in possession, he was about 7-8 yards off of Jesus, and if you're playing as a lone striker, that means one of the centre-halves can come in and put you under pressure.
Talksport live at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal enduring their trickiest run of the season, so are Chelsea, winless since the 11th of March, and they've lost 6 of the last 7 games. Here is Thiago Silva, under pressure immediately, playing in a back 4 today, not always ideal for him. Kicks the ball clear towards the far side. Conte gets it out to Madueke. Conte tries to join again, and it's robbed and turned over by Xhaka. Ødegaard on the edge of the centre circle. Now down the right they go, towards the winger in Saka. Overlapping on the outside is White. Produces the cross into the back edge of the penalty area. It's over the head of Xhaka, headed away by Madueke, and then picked up by Conte, and Chelsea looking to escape. 0-0 the score, 2 minutes played, live on Talksport. The blue of Chelsea against the red of Arsenal. Those famous red strips with white sleeves, and the Arsenal fans very much behind them here at the Emirates Stadium tonight, trying to roar them on to a victory which maybe will keep their title hopes alive.
Sam, just looking at Chelsea when they're in possession, and they keep their three up front. So you've got Aubameyang through the middle, Raheem Sterling comes wide on this left-hand side, Madueke wide on the right-hand side, so they'll be looking to try and bypass the press.
I want to see Madueke on the ball as much as possible. We know that Zinchenko's a really good player. When Arsenal have the ball, they come into midfield. But defending-wise, if he gets one-on-one with a bit of space, I think he's there for the taking. And Raheem Sterling, has not happened for him in his first season at Chelsea. He's got a point to prove from now to the end of the season. So that, if he can get, again, one-on-one with Ben White, that's going to be interesting.
How will Arsenal respond tonight? They've let the pressure get to them. They've nudged the door open for Manchester City when they dropped points at Liverpool. They allowed it to swing open at West Ham. And then City walked right through it at the Etihad. And it's going to be difficult to shut it back up now. Mikel Arteta said the change was down to moments where you don't react, key moments where you make the wrong decision under pressure. Those can define your season, and maybe it's just shifted it. So far in Manchester City's favour, it'd be difficult to swing it back again. Jorginho up towards the right side. Saka back in field to Ben White. Strong performance required from Arsenal. Here is Kivior trying to settle into the game. The first couple of touches for him have been pretty sure-footed. Up towards Jorginho on the halfway line. He clips the ball forward looking for the run of Jesus, who wins the ball in the air ahead of Thiago Silva. It drops and bounces. It's given straight to Xhaka. Kepa Balaga has to make a save. It's a bit of a mix-up in the Chelsea defence, and Arsenal get it back again on the edge of the area. Down the right it goes towards Saka. Intervention from Chilwell up towards Aubameyang, and now they're on the break. Chelsea very quickly gets booed every time he touches the ball. Aubameyang, but that was a real mix-up in the Chelsea defence, Perry Groves.
Granit Xhaka should score, because it's a really bad back header from Azpilicueta. He leaves Kepa short, and all Granit Xhaka's got to do is just get his left toe to it. To be fair, it was a decent save from Kepa.
He came out really well and made a really good save, but he has to score there. It's a wonderful opportunity. It's a really bad mistake, as you said, from Azpilicueta. Horrible from a fullback's point of view, because it's bouncing and he knows it's coming. He's facing his own goalkeeper, so he wants to get it back, but he's not got enough on it. If you get too much, you can get an own goal. Not enough, and the player can step in. He didn't get enough, and Xhaka, that's a wonderful opportunity. It really is.
Well, I don't know what Cesar Azpilicueta was doing, but it was such a tame header back to his goalkeeper.
He's worried, Xhaka, Sam, if he gets too much on it, then he almost lobbed Kepa, you know, when that ball's bouncing so high. So it's a really difficult one to try and do, but he certainly didn't get that right.
I think Balaga did very well indeed to make the save. Enzo Fernandez over on the far side was just caught by Gabriel, needed a bit of attention, and that's why the game stopped. Frank Lampard was up early into his technical area and was screaming and shouting at his team, and Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta is now responding in kind, looking very dapper. He always looks at the absolute business, Mikel Arteta, in a black roll-neck sweater, dark grey slacks, polished shoes, arms folded as he strides out to the perimeter of his technical area. Cleared away by Balaga. Upfield it goes towards Raheem Sterling. It runs towards the near touchline. He keeps it in, Sterling, and then tries to dart forward. He tried to play a ball down the inside left channel. The idea was right, but the execution not quite on point, and it goes into the arms of Aaron Ramsdale, wearing yellow, away to our left-hand side, and it remains 0-0.
You said about Mikel Arteta, I mean, he looks like James Bond down there, doesn't he?
He does. There is a vacancy for that job, apparently.
Well, if he was English, he might better get there.
Do you know, you said he polishes his shoes. Do you think he polishes his hair? There's a bit of, don't you think there's a bit of cherry blossom? Is that not the blackest hair you've ever seen?
There's definitely no greys in there.
Or is there
should be
just for men, do you think?
I couldn't possibly comment.
Spoken by someone who does use just for men.
I think hair's very overrated myself.
Here is Ødegaard turning around in the centre circle and getting the better of Enzo Fernandez, who then shuts him down. It breaks into midfield. It's collected by Jorginho. Quick, some action happened. Zinchenko forward towards the left. It's cut out by Madueke and then nabbed by Trossard over on the far side, and Arsenal have got it back again. Really fast, energetic start by Arsenal in this game. 7 minutes played.
Sam, just the way obviously Chelsea set up with their three in midfield, it looks like Kovacic is the one who keeps looking over his shoulder, just seeing where Odegaard's just in that inside right position.
Well, it's important to keep tabs on him because he's the one who creates all the chances for Arsenal. Not all the chances for Arsenal, but a hell of a lot of them. More shot creating chances than anybody else in the Arsenal team. Here is White in midfield for Arsenal, or straying into the midfield position. He plays it to the left, and Kivior, they're very high up inside Chelsea territory here. Arsenal back to Trossard towards Jesus. It breaks down and Conte gets hold of it, takes it to the wide right, plays it infield to Madueke. He tries to scramble upfield, can't get beyond Zinchenko, and Arsenal win it back again high up inside Chelsea territory. At the moment they're playing all the football in the Chelsea half of the pitch. Perry Groves.
The thing is, when Chelsea do get the ball, Sam, they just give it away straight away. They just, you can tell, obviously losing the last 5 games, they're a team that are very low on confidence, but they have to keep the ball. They just keep giving it back to
Jorginho round the corner towards the right, looking to try and get Saka on the ball, and then he just swipes out and kicks at Thiago Silva, who then goes careering into the advertising ball behind the goal away to our right hand side. Took a little bit of a clattering there, the ageing Brazilian.
Yeah, he's okay. Ben Chilwell's just put his hand up and said that he is okay, although he's taken his time getting up. And yeah, I mean, Perry's right, and the reason is because Chelsea are dropping deep and making sure that there's no spaces in behind once Arsenal do have the ball and get towards the halfway line. But what that means is when they do win the ball back, and with Arsenal's pressing so good as well, they're not able to play, say in a way Manchester City did.
Look at the way Frank Lampard now is just trying to move that midfield just a little bit further up the pitch.
Exactly. You know, look, Aubameyang we know can finish, but he's no Erling Haaland, especially now as well. So they still got to try and get the ball long. If they look up and suddenly don't have time because of the Arsenal press, they can't keep on trying to play little 5-yard balls into the midfield, lose it, and Arsenal on the attack.
Well, Arteta did say it took a bit of time to get over the defeat at the Etihad Stadium, but he said it was a good reality check because the players now know the level they have to reach, the level that they've been at, where they have to go, and that they have to sustain it for 10 months of a season. It was a learning experience. I thought he was brilliant, by the way, after the game. I spoke to him straight after the end of that match when he was clearly disappointed. We listened to him yesterday as well, and he conducts himself in such a good manner. Here's Xhaka combining with Jesus, edge of the area. Xhaka is robbed by N'Golo Conte. How Frank Lampard would have loved to have had him more available during his first spell in charge of Chelsea. He sends the ball upfield towards Aubameyang, doesn't quite reach him, and then it's cleared away by Arsenal once again on the halfway line. They're just a little bit deeper now inside their own half when they find Odegaard, who's got time to turn. Kovacic just didn't see him in his wing mirrors on that occasion, had to come from behind to try and shut him down. It's up towards Saka, who's vying with Chilwell, the two England colleagues on this near side, fighting for the ball. It bounces out of play, it's away for a throw, but they want to get the game restarted quickly, Arsenal. White straight into Jesus, back to Odegaard, goes back to Jorginho. They keep the ball moving so quickly, Arsenal. They want Chelsea under pressure and misshapen here. Out wide they go to Trossard, darting down the touchline, taking on Azpilicueta. He gets towards the corner flag, tries to bring a cross into the centre. It's blocked by the Spaniard and out into the Chelsea fans in the corner of the ground opposite us.
Last 3 or 4 minutes, Odegaard has just started to get himself on the ball. He had a great little flick in with the outside of his left foot into Jesus.
Xhaka round the back towards the byline, cross deflected into the air, out for the first corner of the game.
And there was another one from Zinchenko who pinged it into Odegaard. As you said there, Chelsea just sitting deeper and deeper. When it come up to Aubameyang, Kivior or Gabriel can afford to go and challenge him. Aubameyang's not like the strongest physically, and then Arsenal just win the ball back very easily.
So many subplots to this game. Jorginho, whose last goal was for Chelsea. Obviously Aubameyang. Mudryk is on the bench for Chelsea tonight. He could have been an Arsenal player. In fact, he was openly flirting with them at one stage.
I think it's called dodging a bullet.
11 minutes gone.
Trossard for 20 million, wasn't it?
Here is Trossard delivering the ball towards the far post, and it goes out of play and away for a goal kick. Well, you say that. I mean, he's only been in England for a little while. You never know. He may flourish he may bloom into a beautiful flower.
Do you know what? I mean,
needs watering
and a bit of sunlight. Perry scoffed about, Chelsea, but I'm telling you, there is a very, very good group of players here, core players. Chelsea need to get rid of certain players. They obviously need a striker, maybe even two. We'll have to see how Nkunku does when he comes in, but for now, they've just got to find a way, and it's this particular game as well. At the moment, they can't hold the ball. They're dropping too deep. When they look up, they can't pass it. It's all Arsenal. But we knew that would happen at the Emirates. Arsenal at home are a very good side.
Well, you can see why Chelsea have scored just one goal in 656 minutes of football. And that was deflected. Free kick given to Arsenal, just in front of the centre circle. Goes back towards the halfway line. Collected by Gabriel. Here's Zinchenko. Gabriel strides into the Chelsea half. He's a couple of yards in from the left touchline. Midway inside opposition territory. Goes back again to Zinchenko halfway. Wide again to Gabriel Jesus. Chelsea dropping back into a 4 on the edge of their own penalty area. And goes into midfield, and now Jorginho. Wide to White, who's come a little bit more centrally towards the edge of the centre circle before giving it to Gabriel. He moves forward down the left side, a yard in from the left touchline. Jesus, who is allowed to wander in this system. He plays as the point man, but because Trossard sometimes likes to go centrally, or Ødegaard likes to get into the space he's vacated, he is allowed to move around. Kovacic hits the ball into the air. It's headed away by Thiago Silva, drops for Aubameyang, but Kivior wins it, and then Kovacic picks it up, and now Chelsea have got to try and utilise the ball. Aubameyang's going through the centre. It was a poor ball by Sterling, cut out by Kivior and cleared away by Arsenal.
Even a chance of a counter-attack there. Chelsea just giving the ball away. Raheem Sterling got to be better. They've been on the back foot almost since the start of kick-off here, and when they did have a good opportunity, to be fair, Arsenal swarm so well.
They're all over Chelsea at the moment, Arsenal, as they move down the left-hand side, playing the ball into the penalty area. I was at the game, you and I did the game, Scott, Brentford away from home earlier in the season. It's got a very familiar ring to it. It's almost just like it.
Sam, N'Golo Kante's just had the ball there. He's looked around, he thought, can I go to Aubameyang? Madueke's unmarked on his right-hand side. Just pass it 10-15. He tries to come inside, gives the ball away again.
White into Saka, right edge of the penalty area, into Jesus, allowed to turn. Fofana just manages to nab the ball and steer it clear. Comes back in from Jorginho, away by Chilwell, out towards the near side, and Kovacic is like, anywhere will do. But the ball's come back in so quickly, he has to go and make another tackle within half a second. Saka trying to get hold of it. Now it's whacked away by Thiago Silva. There's nobody within 10 yards of the halfway line in blue.
Sam, this could be the commentator's curse. At the moment, Chelsea look like they're just waiting to be scored against. There's no urgency.
Here's Xhaka down the left-hand side. Fofana, who had a really mixed afternoon here earlier in the season when he played for Leicester City against Arsenal. He had a great chance going forward, but it was absolutely savaged by Martinelli that day. Ball played out towards the left-hand side, given to Jorginho, 5 yards back from the edge of the area. It's played wide towards the left. Trossard takes it on, stands up across. Saka with a header, and Kepa has to make a save, and he spilt it back out to Jesus. His right-footed shot is blocked by Thiago Silva, and then Sterling manages to clear. And now Chelsea look to try and race away with Conte and then Madueke up to halfway. Again, nowhere really for him to go. He's forced back by Zinchenko, and he has to go all the way back to Azpilicueta and then across the back four to Silva.
Do you know what? I think Trossard against Azpilicueta from an Arsenal point of view has got to be on all night. The cross came in, and Kepa, for me, yeah, he kind of clashed into the post, but it's a save he should make, and he should definitely do better than that. And then when Chelsea tried to counter, I looked at the midfield, and no one tried to get close to Madueke at all. So the moment he looks up, Arsenal players swarming him again, he's not able to try and make a pass, and he's always having to go back. Chelsea need to get 10-20 yards further up and actually start to go, one-on-one at times with Arsenal. They just look like a team bereft of confidence at the moment.
Well, it's something that Frank Lampard addressed yesterday. He said, I don't want to keep talking about confidence because I can't do that every single week. And there certainly was low confidence when he walked in, and it's continued. But that's because they've lost so many games. They've failed to score a goal for so long. That confidence obviously does take a battering.
They're struggling as well, Chelsea, because it's Fernandes normally the playmaker who gets on the ball. If you look, it's Granit Xhaka who's been designated to pick him up. When Chelsea are in possession, Granit Xhaka's the one who goes and stands on him. At the moment, Chelsea can't get out. There's no other midfield player who's showing for the ball.
Fernandes is the one who gets the ball, plays the ball forward and tries to look for those passes to get Chelsea on the attack. At the moment, they're showing very little ability to do that. But Ben White's just been rolled by Sterling, who's cut in field on this near side. He's then come in towards the middle of the park, overhit the ball, it's gone straight to Jacob Kivier, who's brought it clear. I mean, Chelsea aren't playing very well, but Arsenal aren't letting them.
No, they're not. And again, you're looking at a team that, hasn't won in the few games, but they're up against a team that, as I say, just not playing with any kind of confidence, both with and without the ball. We just saw Chelsea have the ball there, and Arsenal were almost man-marking, going tight, making sure no one had time to turn. And in the end, Raheem Sterling gave the ball away. Once Arsenal have the ball, Chelsea are all just dropping off, and Arsenal are able to dictate the tempo of the game at the moment.
Being smothered, Chelsea, by Arsenal in the opening exchanges here. 17 gone, 0-0 live on Talksport. Perry Grove, Sam Matterface and Scott Minto at the Emirates Stadium will be tomorrow night, bringing you 2 commentaries. Liverpool in action tomorrow night. That's live on Talksport 2 against Fulham. We've got the game between Manchester City and West Ham United live on Talksport from 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Thursday night, it's Brighton against Manchester United. All the action reviewed tomorrow morning on The Breakfast Show, the award-nominated Talksport Breakfast Show with Ali and Laura. Ball wide on the left-hand side, driven into the box, comes to Ødegaard, left-footed, off the underside of the bar and in. Well, it's been coming. 18 minutes on the clock, and Arsenal, determined to keep Manchester City honest, strike first in the London derby. They've been all over Chelsea in the opening 20 minutes, and Ødegaard, who is always going to be the danger man, has wrapped a brilliant shot from the edge of the area, off the underside of the bar and in. It's Arsenal who lead by a 1-0.
Sam, that's the spotless badge for Granit Xhaka, just playing in that inside left position. The ball gets to him, he's on the edge of the 18-yard box. He actually gets his head up and he picks out Ødegaard. He picks him out with a square pass. Ødegaard round about the penalty spot with his left foot, gives Kepa absolutely no chance whatsoever, bends it with his left instep. That's a fantastic team goal from Arsenal, but as I said, it's a spotter's badge from Granit Xhaka and a brilliant finish from Ødegaard.
Look, it's a really good pass, but first of all is Enzo Fernandez, who I'm not quite sure if the ball actually goes through his legs, but certainly he should be able to stop that. And then Kovacic is nowhere near Ødegaard at all. It's a wonderful strike and Kepa has no chance whatsoever, but it is exactly a perfect example of how this game has come. Arsenal on the front foot, Chelsea just defending, not aggressive with or without the ball, and Arsenal deservedly won up.
It's one of those games where anything could happen tonight. You could see a scenario there, if Arsenal didn't respond right to their defeat by Manchester City, that Chelsea could cause a real shock here. You could also see Chelsea not turning up at all and getting an absolute battering, and that's at the moment the likelier of the two events. It's 1-0 to Arsenal, 19 minutes gone. Ødegaard with the opening goal. They have responded very well to that defeat by Manchester City, and they have come out fighting Arsenal.
Sam, as well, when you're playing, Scott will tell you, when you're playing, you get a feeling that the opposition don't fancy it. You just get this feeling that you know they're not quite as intense. At the moment, this is Arsenal's game. This is now going to be all about Arsenal keeping concentration, not taking liberties and playing at the same intensity, because I mentioned 3 or 4 minutes before, the Chelsea are waiting to be scored against. They're so passive, it's actually embarrassing, because all right, sit deep, but when you sit deep, go and close the ball down. Go and close it with intensity. Someone else come with you. Go and kick someone. Show a little bit of aggression. There is nothing from Chelsea.
Absolutely. You can still be aggressive and try to control the tempo of the game, even if you don't have the ball. That's not what we've seen so far. What we've got is a team that clearly has something on this season and one that doesn't.
4v3 in Arsenal's favour, and Ødegaard's got it from Xhaka once again towards the edge of the area. Enzo Fernandez gets back, nabs it and turns the ball over quickly. Kovacic into Conte, out to Madueke far side, couldn't get it under control. Now does take it over the halfway line, goes past Zinchenko and Xhaka. Gets towards the midpoint of the Arsenal half now for the first time really, and then tries to beat another player and does. Gets beyond Zinchenko into the area, lays it into the box, and he misplaces his pass back to Conte. He did a very good job dragging his team up the pitch there, but didn't have the end product.
Madueke did brilliantly, right? But the difference is, when Arsenal lost the ball, Ødegaard ran from his own 18-yard box, and he was the one who just got his foot in with Madueke out on the right wing position. So it's the reaction when you lose it. When Chelsea lose it, they jog back into position.
You're listening to Arsenal 1, Chelsea 0 on Talksport with Now Sports. And don't forget, with Now Sports, you can stream all the Sky Sports action, like Arsenal versus Chelsea live tonight for $11.99. No contract. Search Now Sports. Trossard taking on Azpilicueta, who just about gets there and hooks the ball clear. The Arsenal fans were just singing "You're going down, you're going down" to Chelsea. And it was just a quick check, I think, by Frank Lampard and Joe Edwards and a few of the others, just to see. It's 39 points. Is that going to be enough to stay in the Premier League? Probably, just about.
It's just as well Chelsea have 39 points, I tell you, because another 5-6 games further on, and you just don't know. We're not seeing enough here. Again, it's about, okay, you're not always going to have the ball when you come to the Emirates as well, but it's not just about sitting back and not being aggressive. they're so passive. No one sometimes going one-on-one and saying, I'm not going to let you get past me, I'm not going to let you bring the ball down and have that extra touch. Whereas Arsenal, there's 2 or 3 players around any Chelsea player at any given time.
Conte up to Sterling. Sterling getting away from Jorginho, but again losing the ball. It bounces into the centre circle where it's collected by Enzo Fernandez. Chelsea trailing by a goal to 0 to Arsenal, who will go back to the top of the Premier League tonight with a victory here. It might be short-lived because Manchester City can regain top spot tomorrow when they play West Ham live on Talksport. Here is Wesley Fofana for Chelsea. Thiago Silva just in front of the halfway line. Chelsea have been smothered in the opening 22 minutes by this Arsenal team, but I've seen Arsenal play this well in games against West Ham and in games against Liverpool, get themselves 2-0 in front and throw it away.
We've been here before, haven't we, with Arsenal? So they certainly need to see the game out and have game management. But at the moment, Chelsea, even when they're on the ball, don't look as if they're trying to do anything with it.
Conte towards the edge of the area. He plays the ball out from right to left to Sterling, who bends the ball back into the box, and Madueke is coming in at the far post, but Zinchenko is there. Jesus is back helping out his defence and then turns it to Gabriel, who elegantly plays it out, and then they just pop the ball around the edge of their own penalty area, confident as you like, knowing that Chelsea are not going to be able to press them into submission. The clearance eventually goes up to the halfway line. It's turned over by Chelsea. Fofana plays it over the halfway line, then tries to turn away from Xhaka, who's working his socks off. Conte infield. Kovacic just in front of the centre circle. Referee Rob Jones gets in the way. Come on, fella, alert. And then it goes out towards the near side and Sterling takes over.
To be fair, at least Rob Jones showed for the ball.
Perry.
It's Chelsea's best little bit of play. It's their best little play at the moment. They've had a little bit of possession. Arsenal dropped a little bit deeper, and that came from Granit Xhaka giving the ball away unnecessarily where he's trying to phone Odegaard. So Chelsea just sort of found their way into the game.
He almost tackled Kovacic. It does feel like they've got 12 players, and I'm not saying that from a referee's point of view, but as I say, you know, the aggression they have both with and without the ball. This is massive tonight for Arsenal. It really is. They have to get back. They have to win every game now from the end of the season. Everyone's writing them off. But what if you know, Manchester City concentrate on or just lose concentration with the Champions League and the FA Cup final as well? You never know.
That's it. That's all they can ask for. Chilwell gets in behind, steams into the penalty area, left footy, great save by Aaron Ramsdale, high up to his left-hand side. Brilliant stop. He managed to escape in behind down the left-hand side, Ben Chilwell. He got beyond Saka, who ended up on the floor. He took on White and charged into the box. He was on the left side. He struck the ball firmly towards the far corner. It was nestling in that top corner. And then a big hand came out from Aaron Ramsdale and steered it out for a corner.
You know, that was all about Ben Chilwell, because it wasn't even a great ball from Kante, but he got in front of Saka, used his pace. And I remember Ramsdale making a couple of great saves at Anfield as well. One of those was very similar to that one.
Said it's a lack of concentration from Bukayo Saka. Normally he's good at tracking back, so it was a good ball from N'Golo Kanté. And that's what Arsenal have to concentrate, especially from this corner.
Corner kick away to our left-hand side. Arsenal 1, Chelsea 0, live on Talksport in the Premier League. Chelsea, who haven't won a game since March the 11th, that was away at Leicester City. Looking to attack this corner, left-footed, Chilwell in towards Fofana. Kivior takes charge, brilliant header away. Got great distance on that. He leapt into the air and used his neck muscles to reach the midpoint of the Arsenal half and get it clear from any real danger. Back into centre field, Chelsea getting a bit more possession of the football now, but Arsenal have already taken the lead in this game and taking a firm grip, and they're in command of it.
Yeah, look, Chelsea have done better in the last few minutes, but from Arsenal's point of view, they need to carry on playing how they did in the first 20.
Here is Kovacic getting the wrong side of Saka. This time fights back, wins it, gives it to Zinchenko. Just pops up in the right fullback position now. Saka infield, delicate touch to Odegaard. Jorginho's found blue shirt smothering him for a change and has to give it back to Saka, who finds Kivior with a long pass, and it goes all the way back into the heart of the Arsenal half of the field. Chelsea warming up a couple of substitutes. Conor Gallagher, Kai Havertz, who's missed the last game because of illness, and João Felix. I think they ran down the wrong part of the touchline. I've been told to go to the other end of the field now by the fourth official, Graham Scott. We do have VAR. As always tonight, our VAR is Andre Mariner. Here is Odegaard trying to push the ball towards the edge of the penalty area. Claims of handball thrust away very quickly by Rob Jones. Sterling gives the ball away deep inside his own half, and it's picked up by Trossard, who plays it into the box. It hits the underarm of Fofana, and that may well have to be checked by VAR, because it looked all for the world as if his arm was slightly away from his body when it touched the underneath of his forearm there. The shot coming in from the edge of the area, that looked like there could be a problem.
On first look, Sam, as you said there, looks like Fofana's both of his forearms are away from his body.
I'll tell you what, first of all, it's poor defending, it's weak defending. He's turned his body, he's got his arm up. I actually don't think it's hit his arm, of that there's no doubt. He comes away.
That's a penalty.
Well, under the current laws of the game,
that is a penalty.
It hits his wrist almost, and it's away from his body.
Exactly, his arm is away from his body. There's enough distance between Trossard and Fofana.
Listen, I'm sorry, but over the course of the season, those have been given as penalties. So the VAR here should at least be asking Rob Jones to go over and look at the monitor.
I think the clear and obvious, they're obviously feeling it's not. Maybe they're just thinking that the arm wasn't in an unnatural position or wasn't outside the silhouette, but it definitely hit his arm, and I just think it was really poor defending, weak defending.
Free kick given to Arsenal, and it's bent into the box, and it's collected by Kepa Arrizabalaga. I've got to be honest with you,
it's a penalty.
It's a penalty.
Yes, Andre Mariner, perhaps his screen's gone blank, or he's having a cup of coffee or something, because as you said, Sam, with the modern rules, and there was enough distance between Trossard and Fofana. It wasn't if he was only a yard away from him, it was a good 3 or 4 yards away. In the modern rules, that is 100%
penalty. What's helping him out, the fact that he's maybe trying to pull his arm out the way.
I don't think his arm should be there in the first place. He should be facing the ball. Why is he turning his back on it anyway? There's a cross coming in. You're the central defender. You're meant to be one of the strongest players in the team.
It's definitely a penalty. Here's Noni Madueke down the right-hand side, cutting in on his left foot, going back outside on his right into the penalty area. Right-footed ball, which is cleared away by Gabriel, who then had tied himself in knots and lost balance and fell over as the ball came back towards him, and it's cleared upfield. Fofana then brings down Jesus on the halfway line. That's going to be a free kick.
He does that really well, Jesus, because he backs in, he makes sure that Fofana can't come and get the ball. Fofana should be trying to get in front of him, because, Jesus is up front on his own. And it was really good defending 1v1 with Zinchenko on Madueke, because Madueke tried to go on the outside. Zinchenko made sure that he didn't dive in and got the block.
This is aggression versus passiveness. It really is. It's just watching one team who, they've been on the back foot, and again, it's all about the response from both sets of sides. One team realises they're still got something to play for, maybe the title, who knows. Another team just look as if they're just dropping back in, but they're not actually doing anything at all.
Half an hour gone, and so far a good night for Arsenal and their supporters here at the Emirates Stadium. It was a difficult night for Arsenal and their supporters last night here. It was full to brimming for the Women's Champions League semi-final second leg, and I tell you what, it was a heartbreaking end to that game. Here down the left-hand side, the ball picked up by Jesus into the area, skips past one, pulls it back for Xhaka. Half tackle from a Chelsea defender, prods the ball back towards Jesus. Chelsea win it back on the edge of the box. Madueke finds Conte, and then Azpilicueta from the right fullback position manages to hoist the ball to halfway. Aubameyang committed a foul, but Arsenal have got a ball, so they play on, advantage given.
And that's the difference from the other night. Arsenal were pressing. The long ball had to go. Aubameyang can't hold it up. Haaland was. Just not sticking up there at all. Chelsea need to find a way just to move 10, 15 yards further up and be more aggressive on a one-on-one situation.
At the moment, when you say you win your individual battles, Granit Xhaka is completely smothering Fernandes. Fernandes isn't used to man marking.
Low cross into the box towards Ødegaard again, and he finishes it again. It's another brilliant ball from Granit Xhaka from the left-hand side. It travelled right the way through the penalty area. Chelsea switched off, and Ødegaard switches their lights out. 2-0 to Arsenal. They've bossed the first half an hour of this game. They've taken charge, they've responded to their disappointment, and they lead Chelsea by 2-0.
See Enzo Fernandez having a chat with Thiago Silva, and you think, actually, Fernandez, no, it's Granit Xhaka, you're 1v1. Granit Xhaka again gets free on that left-hand side. Another low ball into the box, exactly same, a bit of deja vu. It's a different finish from Ødegaard this time, but just brilliant play from Arsenal down their left-hand side. Just comes into Granit Xhaka. He's got his head up. Again, Odegaard runs off the back of Raheem Sterling. Really cool finish from Odegaard. First time, uses the pace of the ball from Granit Xhaka. Side foots it, low past Kepa. Absolutely no chance. And I don't want to be too preemptive, but I think this is game done and dusted.
This could be quite humiliating by the end of the night for Chelsea if they're not careful.
Absolutely. Look, you know, we've seen Arsenal go 2-0 up before, more than once, but you just don't see anything from this Chelsea side. Not anything. There's no individual battles being won. There's no team kind of collectiveness. The organisation is not good. And you're looking at a side that, you know, how many players are in the box there? I think there were 6 Chelsea players. As Perry said, Odegaard run off the back of Raheem Sterling, and Thiago Silva's nowhere near him.
Odegaard again, as the ball's won back into the area. Trossard tries a little flick. They're having fun now. And then Chilwell takes it towards the left-hand side and clears it up towards the halfway line. Chelsea need to get a grip of themselves, because I'll tell you what, this could be really damaging. Are you sure 39 points is okay, Scott?
Sam, I said, as a player, when you're playing, you get a feeling. You get a feeling in the game that the opposition don't fancy it. Chelsea don't fancy it. And I know that we've given Frank Lampard some stick. Individually as a player, you've got to look at yourself in the mirror when you come off at the end of the game and think, I couldn't have given any more. There's not one of those Chelsea outfield players, I don't think. N'Golo Kante's run around, but he doesn't know where he's running around to. He's just trying to look a little bit busy. Arsenal throwing gaps all over the place. Granit Xhaka's getting himself on the ball. No one's picking him up.
Jesus gets in behind Fofana, switches the ball out to the wide right position. Saka comes back in left-footed, turns it into the corridor of uncertainty, and it's cleared away by Fofana, who got back into position. Jorginho onto Odegaard, who's on a hat-trick, plays the ball wide towards the right. Ben White collects it, left-footed, deep cross towards the far post, chested down by Jesus, turns it back, they're all having a go. Jesus is there on the volley, pops it up, smashes it in. Chelsea are being battered at Arsenal. And Gabriel Jesus and the rest of the Arsenal players are absolutely loving it. 3-0, we haven't played 35 minutes yet. And they will be going back to the top of the Premier League tonight. Another mess inside the Chelsea penalty area. No one reacted to the loose ball. Jesus did. He turned, he swiveled, he fired it beyond Kepa. 3-0.
Sam, this is an embarrassment. This is a complete embarrassment. Just panned over to Frank Lampard. That was like a five-a-side goal. As the cross comes in, comes out to Ben White on this right-hand side. He crosses with his left foot. So it comes to Jesus, he chests it down, squares it. Granit Xhaka can't get it out of his feet, comes back to Jesus, he smashes it in. There's 3 Chelsea players that have gone on the floor. It's absolutely embarrassing. I have no idea what Azpilicueta's doing. He has no idea where Jesus is. It is an embarrassment. And this, I'm not exaggerating, if Arsenal keep their foot to the pedal here, right, this could be 6 or 7, easily.
Look, easily if it carries on. And you're wearing the Chelsea shirt. You know, I don't care what's gone on before. It doesn't look like anyone's not that they're not trying, but they're not getting tight. There's no individual battle. There's not one individual from a Chelsea player that can say, do you know what, I'm close to winning my individual battle. They're dropping off. They're allowing space. It's not enough to have just numbers in the box. No one's picking up. No one's looking. There's no communication at all. And you're absolutely right, Sam. You asked the question. This could be embarrassing. It is already embarrassing, and it could be 6 if it goes on like this.
You know, he said there's no one not trying, right? I don't think they're trying. And I know ex-professionals don't like to say that players aren't trying, because they're not putting in any urgency. There's no intensity. No one when the third goal went in for Giuseppe, no one had a row with each other. They all just walked around. Their body language.
They don't row anymore, Perry.
Odegaard.
We'll get angry.
Ball played out towards the right-hand side.
I'm getting angry, and it's not even my team.
Me too.
White's wandered into the penalty area. He's got too much space. Oh, he's done a little Cruyff turn. He's laid it off to Saka. Saka into the box, flashes through the 6-yard area. I mean, that was, again, far too easy. Ben White's wandered into the box, done a Cruyff turn and laid it into Saka. There were 5 blue shirts there. No one put any pressure on the ball or followed the runner.
Tam, Ben White has gone into that inside right position. and he's in the penalty area, and there's not one Chelsea player within 2 yards of him.
This is a pathetic performance from Chelsea so far. You're listening to Arsenal 3, Chelsea 0.
Hold on a minute.
On Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today.
I think Frank Lampard's warming up. He might be putting himself on.
Best goal threat they've got in the squad, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, look, you know, what I would say is when you're lacking in confidence, and they are, sometimes it can feel like you just do the easy option, you drop in, you don't make that kind of tackle, but this is not good enough. This is, you know, you need leaders here. Even Thiago Silva, there's nothing happening at all. I still think he's a class player, but every single one of these Chelsea players are getting nowhere near their Arsenal counterpart. Without the ball, they're just absolutely passive. With the ball, they're not able to make string passes together. And Chelsea are getting away with this at the moment. They're 3-0 down.
Nobody is doing their defensive duty. It is a dereliction of duty from those Chelsea defenders in the opening 35 minutes of this game. 3-0 to Arsenal. And look, Chelsea's problems are multiple, created by uncertainty and inexperience at the top of the organisation, scattergun recruitment and eagerness from the owners to be hands-on. It's a tough task this for Maurizio Pochettino to sort out when he walks in the summer, that is for sure.
Maybe that's why he still hasn't signed yet. He wants to make sure that he's in full control of this.
He wants nothing to do with this, by the way, because he's looking at this group of players thinking, I'm not going to have any effect on these, because this group of players are down tools. This was coming after 5 minutes.
Aubameyang trying to steal in behind, headed away by Kivior, who's had a very easy introduction to Premier League
look
life.
at that, right? When the ball came up, okay, Aubameyang didn't win it. There's no Chelsea midfielder trying to win the knockdowns there at all. They're all still just standing there, just sitting back and doing nothing.
Yeah, what happened when it come to Zinchenko? Odegaard was actually standing behind Fernandes, right? So Fernandes knows all Odegaard did was he just moved a yard, 2 yards to his left-hand side, and Fernandes goes, okay, you can have the ball. Go and engage him. Go and try and win the ball off him. Get angry. I haven't seen the Chelsea player have a row with his teammate. I haven't seen the Chelsea player get angry. This is just acceptance. The whole half for Chelsea has been acceptance.
Frank Lampard's got his chin on his chest. His arms are folded. He can't quite believe the way his team have responded to what has been a great start for Arsenal. And look, the problem here is what we're going to end up doing is talking about how bad Chelsea are, and they really are bad, and not how good Arsenal are. Here's Sterling after Arsenal give the ball away casually. It breaks on the edge of the 18-yard box, but they get back in check very quickly, get hold of the ball and look to break free. Odegaard bends it round the corner, and now Jesus is running up against Fofana. He comes in towards the near touchline, and he hands him off, moves away, plays on, gets clattered by Sterling. Now, I think there was an interjection from Jesus on Fofana, and then another one on Sterling from Jesus, and I don't know whether or not he's going to give the free kick Chelsea's way rather than Arsenal's here.
I think what happened when Fofana and Jesus came together on this left-hand touchline, Jesus is holding the ball up, Fofana's trying to get in front of him, and I think it was Jesus' hand just caught him in the face. And to be fair, normally I'm quite critical of players going down too easily.
That was
a proper forearm.
That was a stinger. Let me tell you about the odds, because it's quite interesting. Arsenal 3-0 up at the moment, and for the latest odds you can go to Ladbrokes, where right now, well, I was about to say, where right now you can get, well, you can't get, because bets on Arsenal to win the game have been currently suspended. That's how embarrassing it has been for Chelsea. The draw is 70-1, and Chelsea to come back and win 200-1. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com, 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
So 2 of those bets you wouldn't do, and the other one you can't do. Now, do you know what? Frank's going to get a lot of the blame, or a bit of criticism, a lot of criticism for this as well. And he is an easy target, but he must be looking and say, where is the professional pride of these Chelsea players?
He talked actually in the press conference yesterday about how when he was in the dressing room, they did have big characters, and those big characters would stand up and they would get them out of trouble, and things would go wrong at Chelsea. They changed the manager, and the players would end up getting them out of it. I mean, the Arsenal fans are taunting him now by singing him super Frankie Lampard, because they know that, again, it's a great narrative for them. They're having a brilliant time with it. But he's right, there isn't leaders in this Chelsea group, is it? We've seen that today.
I've been critical of Frank Lampard, right, and I think he could have stamped his mark on this Chelsea side earlier than what he has done. But I'm not going to lay any blame on Frank Lampard on this performance from Chelsea. This is all to do with the players. Every single one. They've gone 4-3-3. I said earlier that Fernandes wasn't picking up Granit Xhaka. No one's picking up Odegaard. He was just drifting around, and it was Kovacic who's supposed to pick up Odegaard. And we said after about 10 minutes, Odegaard was starting to get on the ball, Scott. He's just starting to dictate. Then Kovacic, either Thiago Silva or Fofana should be saying to Kovacic, just go and stand on him for 10 minutes. Stop him playing for 10 minutes. But what these modern day players do is they all look after themselves. They all go into their own sort of little shell and think, no, I'm not going to take any responsibility here. I'm going to make sure that I'm not the one who gives the ball away, or I'm not the one who makes a mistake. So then there's no collective responsibility. Then this was coming after 5 minutes. Chelsea were waiting to get beaten.
What you need is someone to say, you get tight to him. You get tight to him. Don't just drop off, but don't actually pick up. And, you know, look, you're right, Sam, because this is a shambles from Chelsea, but we really should give Arsenal credit because they have been great from the word go. They've been at it. A lot of questions have been asked, obviously, since the Manchester City, not just result, but performance as well. And they've come out and they've played and said, you know what, we're still in this title race, but for Chelsea's point of view, this is just not good enough, and that's the nicest thing I can say.
3 minutes to go before half-time. Here is Noni Madueke trying to release Aubameyang. He fires it into a rapid speed. He miscontrols it, goes behind and out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. Frank Lampard turns, drops down, picks up a water bottle, takes a couple of swigs. Chelsea supporters over in the far corner start to drift out the exits. Some of them will be going to get a half-time beer or 3. Others will just be thinking, I can probably get the tube now.
Some of them might stay in the concourse for the second half.
It might be better just to go to a pub. The Arsenal fans are absolutely loving it because they had a really bad couple of weeks. I spoke to a few on the way in today, and they obviously they've done a brilliant job here in order to get into the title hunt in the first place. But it has hurt the last couple of results. It has hurt that they've dropped points in key fixtures and they've surrendered the advantage in the title race to Manchester City. But to come back here and put a performance on like this is credit not only to the players but to their manager, who I thought handled all that brilliantly. Ball round the corner for Chelsea. Kovacic on the chase, down the left channel. Sterling trying to get there. Ramsdale picks it up. 3-0 to Arsenal. And it's been a very unsatisfactory afternoon. Do you think Frank Lampard will make significant changes at half-time? Has he got to do something?
Who's he going to bring on? Mudryk? Loftus-Cheek? Chalobah? Who's going to actually go on there and think, right, I'm going to run around and I'm going to affect this game? If I was Frank Lampard going in at half-time, I'd be sitting them down and saying, right, see you 10 outfield players, have a look at yourselves. Have a look at yourselves. And you tell me whether you think you've done enough in that first half. I wouldn't be, reading the right act or, the hairdryer or whatever. Just say, OK, you sit there and you can wallow in your own inadequacies, because that is a disgrace to the Chelsea badge. And from the team that he's been used to playing with heart and passion, there is no heart in this bunch of Chelsea players.
Do you know what, Sam? There's not one player that can say I deserve to be staying on the pitch in the second half, but it's almost slightly unfair on the subs to come on and say do something when you're 3-0 down. You almost want to say, right, you go out there in the second half and you show me something better. The problem is I don't think there will be. It's almost everyone's waiting to the end of the season now, and I just think you look at Frank, what can he do? What can he do?
Well, he can't do anything, and not with the way this lot are playing at the moment. But I tell you what Arsenal can do is they can keep scoring goals, and if they keep scoring goals, keep racking up more and more chances and confidence, then you never know, they'll give themselves belief that they can do something. A free kick given against Gabriel Jesus. Arsenal thought they'd got away with it and were running towards the goal away to our right-hand side. Didn't quite turn out that way, and it gives Chelsea the chance to try and clear their lines from the edge of their own penalty area. 3-0 to Arsenal, 2 goals from Odegaard, 1 from Jesus. The first 2 from crosses from Granit Xhaka that weren't defended by Chelsea. The 2 finishes were excellent from Odegaard. The third goal was a real mess, an absolute mess inside the 6-yard box, and Jesus was the one who reacted very quickly and fired it beyond Kepa Arrizabalaga. Chelsea have had one chance, Chilwell firing the ball high towards the goalkeeper's left, and Aaron Ramsdale made a brilliant save. Apart from that, I mean, I can't even remember making too many forays into the Arsenal half.
No, listen, there's so many things that's been disappointing from a Chelsea point of view, but I looked at that midfield, Enzo Fernandez, Kante, Kovacic. Oh, that's going to be a good battle, isn't it? And they haven't got anywhere near the Arsenal midfield.
Kovacic trying to get past Xhaka, moves the ball out to the right-hand side, delivers the ball into the edge of the box on the left side, and Mikel Arteta just trying to make sure that his team don't switch off as we move into 2 minutes of added time. At the end of the first 45, live on Talksport, Fofana plays the ball out towards the far touchline, Azpilicueta into Conte, and then Conte travels down the touchline, looks to try and get the ball infield to Madueke. He holds off Zinchenko, back to Conte, crossing position. Kovacic edge of the area, down the right side, in towards Sterling, who goes down under pressure, looks up, glances towards Rob Jones, who just shakes his head and says, nope, crack on. And it's into the arms of Aaron Ramsdale.
Do you know what this has been like, Sam? This has been like when you set a training session up and you have the first team against the reserves or youth team, and the reserve and youth team have got to get in a shape, but not allowed to tackle the first team. They're not allowed to get close to them. They're not allowed to, go and put them under pressure because they want to get in a rhythm.
Arsenal brilliant in that first 45 minutes, fully deserving of their 3-goal advances. Chelsea absolutely pathetic. Arsenal 3, Chelsea 0.
Well, this is what Arsenal needed. It's been uplifting for the Gunners. Spirit, togetherness, passion and quality. Mikel Arteta's side are sending a message that the Premier League title race is not over. They have torn Chelsea to shreds. A total embarrassment for Frank Lampard and his side. Lampard's Chelsea legacy, maybe more importantly his reputation as a manager, is taking a hammering tonight. They're staring down the barrel of a 6th straight defeat in all competitions. That would equal their worst run since 1993. They're also heading for their lowest finish in over a quarter of a century. And essentially, Chelsea have been blitzed in North London. Scott Minto, Perry Groves, watching that first half. I got to start with Arsenal because there was pressure on them. They know they have to win every game between here and the end of the season to make this title race just go down to the final day. Who knows where it will take them, but obviously they knew tonight, big pressure if they didn't win the game. And they were back to their best. They were confident. There was a plan. It was coherent. They were into the tackle first. They were everything that we've seen from Arsenal at their best so far this season.
Yeah, they was on the front foot. Hugh, you asked me what I wanted to see, from the get-go, and it's exactly what happened. They're going to press you. Chelsea tried to leave their free up front when they're under pressure. Obviously, Madueke over on the right-hand side, Sterling on this left, and Aubameyang. But Chelsea couldn't get out. And then there was no reaction when Arsenal started to dominate possession. No one was picking up Granit Xhaka. Enzo Fernandez was letting him just drift off of him. Odegaard, Kovacic was supposed to be on him. He was letting him drift off of him. And then we said after 5 minutes, Chelsea looked like a team that were waiting to be scored against. There was no effort from them. They weren't getting close. They weren't winning their 1v1s. They weren't closing the ball down. Arsenal been irrepressible, and they would have felt from the first 5 minutes that this bunch of Chelsea players don't fancy this, and this is exactly what's happened.
Well, there was a huge chance for Granit Xhaka early on, which came off the back of an error, you'd say, from Cesar Azpilicueta, and it wasn't long until Arsenal got themselves on the score sheet. It was Xhaka down the left-hand side, and he really passed the ball to the edge of the box. Fantastic finish from Martin Odegaard to make it 1-0.
Do you know where it was? From Arsenal's point of view, yeah, really good goal. And you're right, there's a chance and Xhaka actually should have done better. He should have scored. It's a good save from Kepa. So really, it could be 4 or 5 already at half-time. But you look at the numbers that Chelsea had in the box. But again, they were so passive. They were not picking anyone up. They're saying, right, I'm in my position, but I'm not looking around to see who's there. And Odegaard's just coming around the back of someone, just going in front of someone else. Chelsea defenders and midfielders aren't moving at all. And both those goals, 1-0 and 2-0, were very much like that. This is, and Perry's absolutely right, this is a first team versus a youth team game. Yeah. It really is. It's men against boys. And do you know what? For all the criticism that Todd Bowley, I think, has rightly had, and for all the criticism that Frank Lampard has had, that's a good enough team in a good enough system to be playing a lot better than that. It's been disgraceful.
It was like those training ground figures that coaches put into the ground when the players practiced their free kicks with them. They were just dotted around the penalty box, and the Arsenal players were just moving in between them. There was no movement from the defenders whatsoever. The second goal, similar as well. Granit Xhaka passes it in. Raheem Sterling checks his shoulder, looks at Odegaard. Next thing he knows, the ball's in the back of the net. He's ball watching.
There's two things. Enzo Fernandez doesn't pick up Granit Xhaka, which he didn't pick him up the first time. So that's a deja vu. And the top players, you can't let the same thing happen over and over again. Exactly what happened. Different finish from Odegaard. And you said there about, that Chelsea have been dummies. In this first half, they have literally been dummies.
The third goal for Gabriel Jesus was the one that will be played on the highlights reel with the Benny Hill music going underneath it, because there were 4 Chelsea players on their backsides in the penalty box as Jesus struck the ball past Kepa.
Frank Lampard must feel like he's in a Benny Hill film right now. Honestly, it's ridiculous. Again, numbers in the box, but no one actually picking up, no one being aggressive, no one making sure they're touch tight to somebody. And the fact that it was just bouncing around and bobbling around for so long, and yet still it was always an Arsenal player that got there first, more than once. It's just embarrassing. It's really embarrassing from Chelsea's point of view, and the fans must be thinking, just what is happening to our club right now?
It was a 5-a-side goal, as I said earlier, because Jesus just backs off the back of Azpilicueta, then he chests it down, he gets his half shot, comes to Granit Xhaka, he gets a half shot, comes back to Jesus, and he just fires it past Kepa. If I was Mikel Arteta, obviously you'd be delighted with his team performance. You know what I would do? Maybe at half-time and even 10 minutes into the second half, I'd bring Reece Nelson on and bring Martinelli on and go, right, go on then, rest Bukayo Saka, get Trossard on and say, right, you go and run at the fullbacks.
It wasn't that long ago when they played Southampton, the worst team right now in the Premier League. Chelsea are worse than this.
Absolutely horrific first half from Chelsea. Brilliant from Arsenal. They lead 3-0 at the break and they are heading back to the top of the Premier League. They will overtake Manchester City by 2 points. City having played 2 games fewer, and they, remember, play live on Talksport against West Ham tomorrow night. Got to tell you, it could have been even worse tonight for Chelsea. Wesley Fofana's potential handball, guidance from the PGMOL, they felt that Fofana's arm was tucked in and therefore no penalty. I've got to say, you have very much seen them giving. But big 45 minutes on the way. We've got to see something from Chelsea, some fight. I wonder what Frank Lampard's telling them in that change room, because at half-time they trail at the Emirates. It's Arsenal 3, Chelsea 0, live on Talksport.
Kick-off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Hello, my friend. Life comes at you fast, so make time for you time with Just Eat. For early times, lunch times, late times, strange times. The perfect times for the McDonald's Sausage and Egg McMuffin, Five Guys Cheeseburger and Strawberry Shake, Domino's Pepperoni Passion, plus more from Costa Coffee, Creams Cafe and Pizza Express. So order now, later, in a bit, whenever. We got it.
Did somebody say Just Eat?
Product subject to availability in restaurant and serving times. Participating stores only. See justeat.co.uk for details.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of June 2022 and 30th of September 2022 is under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
For all the top Premier League analysis, listen to The Game, the Premier Football podcast from The Times. Every Monday and Thursday, join Hugh Woosencroft and a host of big-name guests for in-depth reaction and opinion on the latest action and the biggest issues in the world of football.
It's a massive goal!
Hear previews of all the upcoming matches and provocative and compelling opinions from some of the finest football writers from The Times and The Sunday Times.
Lovely bit of football!
Listen to The Game on the free Times Radio app or wherever you find your podcasts.
And he's barrelled it straight through the midfield into the Village Hotel Pub and Grill fan zone, the home of big screen live football. A long volley over the stadium seats by the giant screens into the left-hand corner of the bar, past a winning lineup of ice-cold beers and a magnificent menu of mouth-watering footy food. Result! Enjoy the perfect big match experience with food, drink and live football at a Village Hotel Pub and Grill fan zone at 33 UK locations. Find your nearest venue and win monthly prizes, including match tickets at villagehotels.com/fanzone. Get in! Conditions apply. 18 plus, always drink responsibly.
Rodri to De Bruyne, flicked on to Walker. Goal! No one saw that coming.
Or as we say in Japan, no warutaka wa tsume o kakusu. The smart hawk hides its talents. For taste beyond expected, Asahi Super Dry, Official beer partners of Manchester City. Enjoy responsibly. Visit drinkaware.co.uk.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals on a wide range of building products. In May, we've got a white painted Velux GGL MK06 centre pivot roof window for £295 ex VAT. And with free delivery, that's a real deal. Find more real deals online at selcobw.com.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
That charged at 20%. Free delivery within local delivery areas.
This football season, get a hand from Betfair's popular Bet Builder and easily add our fan favourite football selections to your bet slip in just one tap. And you can get a £5 free bet when you place a £5 Bet Builder on Arsenal versus Chelsea. How handy is that? Betfair.
Opt-in required. Max £5 free bet builder valid 72 hours. Minimum combined odds. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Sort your finance first so you can choose a car with confidence. Search Car Finance 24/7 today.
Representative APR 19.9%. Car Finance 24/7 is a credit broker, not a lender.
On DAB, online, on the app,
and on your smart speaker.
King-sized football on the nation's favourite Talksport, your coronation station. On one's head, sire. Talksport.
Jorginho onto Ødegaard, who's on a hat-trick, plays the ball wide towards the right. Ben White collects it, left-footed, deep cross towards the far post, chested down by Jesus, turns it back, they're all having a go. Jesus is there on the volley, pops it up, smashes it in. Chelsea are being battered at Arsenal. And Gabriel Jesus and the rest of the Arsenal players are absolutely loving it. 3-0, we haven't played 35 minutes yet.
You're an embarrassment.
Arsenal are heading back to the top of the Premier League. There are not going to be any miracles at the Emirates this evening. I will stick my neck out on that one. They have torn Chelsea apart. 2 goals from captain Martin Ødegaard. And I think the icing on the cake, but there could be more in the second half from Gabriel Jesus. It could turn into even more of an embarrassing evening. But as I say, as it stands, Arsenal going 2 points clear of Manchester City, who play tomorrow night live on Talksport. I think the odds are going to be very heavily in Arsenal's favour, but let's check in anyway with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Alex Apati joins us once again. Alex, everything I've got on Arsenal. Would you take it?
Well, apparently we're not even taking bets on Arsenal to win this one now. It says betting suspended on the match betting as far as Arsenal are concerned. Chelsea are 200 to 1 to win. The draw itself is 70 to 1. And I know Arsenal were odds-on favourites to win this, but I don't think many would have predicted this scoreline after 45 minutes. In terms of the goal scorers, Trossard and Saka still yet to get in and amongst it. They're 100 to 30 apiece to score in this half. Martin Ødegaard is 5 to 1 for a hat-trick. And if you had £1 for every time Aubameyang's even touched the ball that half, I don't even think you'd be able to get half a pint at the Emirates. He's 9 to 2 to score at any time. Both teams to score an even money shot. You mentioned a potential rout in this half. Arsenal's biggest ever Premier League victory is 7-0 against Everton. I think about 20 years ago now. 55 to 1 says they match that tonight. Massive couple of games coming up for Chelsea after this now. Bournemouth next, and then I guess you could call them their relegation rivals, Nottingham Forest, to come after that as well. Then it's City away, United away, and Newcastle at home. So I think fans can strap in now for a bumpy end to the season, Hugh.
Absolutely they can. Alex Apati, thank you very much. Those were the latest odds with Ladbrokes. You can play at ladbrokes.com, 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Well, I think Arsenal are in the changing room with Mikel Arteta right now, just enjoying themselves, having a laugh, relaxing, shaking their legs out. The entire Chelsea bench is out in front of us, doing a little warm-up at half-time. I've got to say, Kai Havertz has a coach with him. Looks like he will immediately come on. The other 2 players that are semi-stripped down are Conor Gallagher and Joao Felix, who may be not coming on straight away, but you could see them early in the second half. All the other Chelsea subs wearing those long puffer coats that Arsene Wenger made famous, so I don't think they're going to be coming on anytime soon. They're looking pretty relaxed right now. Alongside me, Perry Groves, Scott Minto. I mean, our thoughts on what's to come. We're looking at the Chelsea players at half-time. They're in the tunnel already. Cesar Azpilicueta having some strong words with Mateo Kovacic and Enzo Fernandez. You know, the fire, the passion, something that these Chelsea fans will want to see from their players in the second half. You've played for Chelsea. What will those fans be thinking about their players right now?
Well, they'll be thinking that was disgraceful. It was pathetic. It was not worthy of a Chelsea performance and a Chelsea shirt. And do you know what? It does look like Kai Havertz is going to come on. I would have put on Conor Gallagher as well, and maybe even Joao Felix. You know with Conor Gallagher, you will definitely get someone running around and trying to put a tackle in. No one did at all. It was a disgraceful performance in that first half. And, how can it be that the odds are you're not allowed to bet on a team playing against Chelsea to win the game and you haven't even got to half-time?
Kai Havertz coming on.
Yeah.
He's not exactly a player who's going to put his foot in, is he? No, I'm just saying, because Kai Havertz, I see, he's a drifter. He drifts laterally. He's not going to go and put himself around. Frank Lampard, I'd have made 3 substitutions at half-time, because as a manager, you have to be seen. I'd have put Loftus-Cheek on, as you said, Conor Gallagher. You have to be seen to be doing something. So it looks like Kai Havertz is to come on from Aubameyang. You said about Mikel Arteta, Arsenal players relax, have a laugh. In a million years, Mikel Arteta isn't going to be like that. He's going to make sure that Arsenal on the front foot again, because he'll want them to go for even more goals and be relentless.
Well, you're absolutely right. Looks like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang will be coming off, and it looks like Kai Havertz is coming on as well. The players ready to get underway for the second half. Gabriel Jesus, last player out the tunnel, and these Arsenal fans pouring back into their seats. They're enjoying themselves so far this evening. Things could get even better. And I'm just looking over to the Chelsea supporters, because so many of them vacated their seats very early at the end of that half. I thought they're going to go to the concourse, maybe get themselves a drink. And I wonder how many are going to come back to their seats for this second half, live and exclusive on Talksport in the Premier League, as Arsenal head on their way back to the top of the table. I'll leave you for the second half with the former Arsenal winger Perry Groves, former Chelsea defender Scott Minto, and our very own Sam Matterface.
Yeah, well, Chelsea trying to avoid another huge defeat. 6-0 earlier in the season away at Manchester City was their worst defeat in 23 years. They lost 7-0 in 1991, April 1991 to Nottingham Forest. That was the worst performance I'd ever seen Chelsea put out, and this has got the possibility of being right up there, Scott Minto.
I think it depends on how Arsenal come out in the second half. If they go again, I don't see Chelsea. I don't see any leaders out there, and I even include Azpilicueta and Thiago Silva. Everyone, again, we're using the word so many times, just so passive. You don't always have to have the ball, but you can still be aggressive. You can still win that one-on-one battle, and they haven't done that.
So the one change for Chelsea is Aubameyang off and Kai Havertz on, and he's up through the middle of the pitch. No real changes in the way that Chelsea is structured. So Arsenal have got Ramsdale in goal, Ben White, Kivior, Gabriel and Zinchenko as the back four. Jorginho and Erdogan and Xhaka in midfield, with Saka, Trossard and Jesus having a field day. Chelsea with Kepa in goal, Azpilicueta at right back, Fofana, Thiago Silva and Chilwell the back four, Conte, Fernandes and Kovacic in midfield, with Madueke and Sterling supporting Havertz in attack. You're listening to Talksport. Chelsea in blue attacking the goal away to our right. Arsenal in the red shirts, white shorts attacking the North Bank away to our left. Here is Havertz with Sterling available in front of him. Chilwell was free over on the left-hand side. They've given it to Madueke, who cuts in left-footed, chips the ball high into the air and over everybody and behind and away for a goal kick.
That's better though from Chelsea. Just in the first, minute, 2 minutes, at least they've got forward. They made some passes. Azpilicueta, I don't feel needed to try and make that overlap, because Madueke had a one-on-one situation, but he came in. It was an overhit cross, but at least they've created something.
Just think, it could have actually been worse, couldn't it, Perry? Because if that handball had been given, we would have been heading to 4.
And Granit Xhaka missed a great chance, didn't he, with Azpilicueta's bad headed back pass. So yeah, Chelsea had a result getting in at 3-0 down. It'll be interesting to see how intense Arsenal are in this second half, because Mikel Arteta, I don't think he'll want them to ease off at all, and if they do, after probably, if you get to 55, 60 minutes, he'll definitely make a couple of substitutions with the likes of, say, Reece Nelson, Martelli, and maybe even Thomas Partey.
Well, Arsenal are on their worst defensive run since 1985, when Perry Groves was dancing to UB40 in a Colchester nightclub. Andromeda or Laristos?
I think on Saturday night, it would have been Andromeda.
Okay.
Yeah, VIP.
Chelsea on their worst losing run since 1993, at which time I think I was playing Mariah Carey's Hero on Hospital Radio, and Scott Minto, at the time Charlton star player, was part-time DJ busting out Good Men, Capella, The Shaman.
No, not quite my cup of tea, that one, but I know your DJing is going on pretty well at the moment, Sam.
For the Fofana potential handball, we have had a little bit of guidance, and the VAR felt that Fofana's arm was tucked in and therefore no pen.
No chance.
I did say that, didn't I? That would be the only way he could get away with it. But I just thought it was, I don't want to use the word sort of cowards defending, but you shouldn't be turning on a cross like that.
But that's what you mean.
I'm trying hard not to use it, and yet I used it.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's still 3-0. Chelsea have survived 3 minutes of the second half, but Arsenal have won the ball back on the left-hand side. Xhaka heads it forward, taken on by Jesus, down the left side, trying to get beyond the defender Apilicueta, who fouls him. It's going to be a free kick down in the left corner of the field. And it's going to be a free kick to Arsenal, about 5-6 yards outside the 18-yard box. A couple of Arsenal supporters spot Perry and start singing the Perry Groves song. Walking at, what is it? Is it the
we all live in a Perry Groves world?
Yeah.
It goes on a bit too long. Goes to like number 11.
Does it?
Is it a good world to live in?
Provided a very good title for an autobiography, I hear.
If I could remember it, I'd tell you. Actually, that was asking for their money back. They wanted refunds from watching me play.
Free kick on this near side to be taken by Arsenal's Leandro Trossard. It's right down by the byline, and it's about 5 yards outside the box. So it's like a hockey short corner, and Trossard, the Belgian, has got Odegaard short to his right, and he's got a clutch of players at the back post looking to burst into the area here. He puts two arms into the air and then hits the ball in towards the near post. It takes a deflection off Sterling, who immediately rather sheepishly put his arms behind his back, and it goes out for a corner away to our left-hand side.
It's not a great free kick, is it, from Trossard? To be fair, Raheem Sterling is not the biggest one-man war you're ever going to see.
Here is the corner away to our left-hand side to be taken by Trossard. Again, those Arsenal players clutched together on the back edge of the 6-yard box, looking to burst in attack and disrupt the Chelsea defence, who are marking zonally. The ball goes deep towards that far post. He's isolated Kepa. It drops over the line, does it? The referee doesn't give the goal because it didn't drop over the line. It's cleared away by Chelsea and out to the far side, and Gabriel Jesus. Another big chance for Arsenal, and Chelsea have got away with it. Here is Odegaard, edge of the area, lifting the ball back into the box, and it's just over Gabriel's head and drifts behind. That was close. That was very close. Gabriel's header cleared off the line, I think, by Thiago Silva.
Do you know what you cannot do, even if you're playing really badly, is to concede a goal from a set piece. You know, Kepa gets nowhere near it at all. Thiago Silva, to be fair to him, does really well. He almost flips it up on his thigh. But honestly, it's just shocking defending. It's Keystone Cops, it really is.
I mean, the goalkeeping was terrible. It then comes over onto the knee of Thiago Silva, who sort of juggles with it and then clears. It was so cool from him, but the rest of the defence, I mean, wow.
Ben White does well because he's trying to block in Kepa, and Madueke, I think, is the wrong side. He should be the other side of Ben White. But then you're looking, obviously Thiago Silva drops onto the line, so he does his job. Then I'm looking at Fofana, thinking the ball's coming into the box. Why aren't you going to try and win the header?
3-0 to Arsenal, who have the ball over on the far side, inside their own half. They move it very quickly up towards the midway point of the Chelsea half, into Odegaard. Good play by Jesus, who held it up initially. It comes to Xhaka, edge of the area, tries to take on the Chelsea defence. They park for him. He shoots. It's turned around the corner by Arida Balaga, who drops to his right and touches it round the post. Again, the Chelsea defence just seemed to dissipate as soon as Arsenal applied any sort of pressure.
And again, it's that counter-attack, isn't it? That Arsenal seem to have it in a way that they can score in so many ways. And it just goes straight through the middle. Again, there's 4 Chelsea defenders, and yet no one gets anywhere near Xhaka. It's a really good save from Kepa there.
Thiago Silva gets ragdolled by Jesus when the ball comes in. He spins him too easily. When it comes to the edge of the box, then Granit Xhaka puts it through Fofana's leg. So you've got your 2 centre-halves completely knocked off the ball, completely passive, not over my dead body defending.
Here's the corner in towards the near post, flicked on, and it goes towards the back post where it's stabbed goalwards by Gabriel Jesus, and he fires it over the top of the crossbar. I mean, if this isn't 6, I think Arsenal have had a bad night.
They just look, Chelsea, as if they don't know how to defend in any way whatsoever. Arsenal look as if they can score in so many ways. They can pass around people, they can cross the ball in, they can do it from set pieces, they can counter-attack. And this is a game where you get the feeling if Arsenal had to score 6 to win the title, they would.
Ball has ended up at the feet of a Chelsea player, the German Kai Havertz, who came on as a second-half substitute. He plays it back towards the midpoint of his own half, where Thiago Silva takes it on in those green boots. He plays it square. I wonder what he's thinking, Thiago Silva, bearing in mind that he is a player who has won 18 domestic trophies. He is still a rock at the age of 38. Difficult for him to play in a back four now, but he is someone who's seen it all. Here down the left-hand side come Chelsea. Chilwell delivers a cross into the box, and it beat Aaron Ramsdale. Wasn't entirely sure of the flight of the ball, and it goes through the 6-yard area and out the other side, and it's away for a goal kick away to our right.
It's got to be a better delivery there from Ben Chilwell. It was a good break down the left-hand side from Chelsea. They actually get 3 men into the box. Madueke on the far post. N'Golo Kante goes to the near post. Kai Havertz in the centre, and Ben Chilwell just overhits the cross. Ramsdale thought a minute it might be just dropping into his top left-hand corner, but just went aimlessly right for goal kick.
Gabriel's got a little bit of an issue here, and he's just had a conversation with 2 or 3 of the members of the Arsenal defensive battalion, just to sort of impart a little bit of knowledge on them and just explain what he's feeling. He didn't look completely comfortable, but they do have a goal kick away to our right hand side, leading by 3-0. But they knew any slip up tonight would probably result in it really being all over. But a win does keep the pressure on City, or maybe not pressure, but it keeps them honest, doesn't it?
Honest, and you want to make, from an Arsenal point of view, you want to make Man City have to win it, rather than drawing another game or losing another game and making it easy for Man City. As you said, you want to keep them at it.
It does put a bit of pressure on City. Can City handle it? Yes, we believe they can. We know they can. They've done it before, but it does put pressure on City. If Arsenal drop points again here tonight, then we really would be saying that you can't make a case for Arsenal to go on and win it. And look, we all still now think that City will, but this is a really good performance.
Jesus, halfway line, turns it infield. There was space out wide on the left, they didn't use it. Ødegaard switched it to the right instead, and now Saka careers into the edge of the penalty area, gets it down the right side, plays it into Ben White, who's on the overlap. He takes over now, back to the edge of the area where it's collected by Ødegaard. He tries to play it through the legs of a Chelsea defender. No one in blue reacts, and Xhaka picks it up, and they start again. It comes back to Ødegaard. Saka turns past Silva, lays the ball through the 6-yard area, flicked away by Arida Balaga. Comes back out to Trossard on the left-hand side. Still the attack continues. Trossard going one way, then the other, gets to the byline. Tackle comes in, just about prods it away. Madueke then gives it straight back again inside his own box. Why not? Here they come again down the left-hand side. Xhaka plays it infield into Zinchenko. Ødegaard wandering through, plays it on to Jorginho, and the Arsenal fans are cheering every pass now, laughing at Chelsea's inability to hold them at bay. And Saka has come forward, left-footed, and sends it narrowly wide from 20 yards, driving the ball towards Arida Balaga's left. He went sprawling across because he wasn't sure, and it went narrowly wide.
Sam, all this is now is just shooting practice. Every time Arsenal go and attack, there's not one Chelsea player engaged. Madueke gave the ball away there to Trossard. He didn't react at all. He was actually walking. He let Trossard just go past him. He didn't even break into a jog.
Havertz getting into the air at the other end, tries to tease a ball through the box, but he hits it with about 30% of the power that was required. Cleared by Arsenal, collected by Kovacic. Arsenal will be playing Champions League football next season. Chelsea ain't going to be in Europe. I don't know how attractive the proposition is for Maurizio Pochettino, but I'm sure that after the beauty pageant that they wanted to do involving Nagelsmann and Enrique ended up falling apart very quickly, because Nagelsmann and Enrique are not going to get involved in anything like that. They've got to make sure that they get the Pochettino deal over the line, because there's not too many other options of top managers that are going to take this job on a whim, unless you pay them a hell of a lot of money to do it.
If it was another 6 games to go to the end of the season, it could have been Championship football. this is how poor Chelsea are at the moment. And I think the reason that maybe Enrique and Nagelsmann haven't taken the job, because they want Farnham to say who goes in and who comes out. The top manager isn't going to be top. Chelsea's transfer policy has been so scattergun. Graham Potter didn't have any control who came in and who went out. That was his problem.
Martinelli's about to come on for Arteta. Just gives him a big hug on the touchline. Elsewhere in League One, Shrewsbury beating Bristol Rovers by 2-0. In the National League, the playoff eliminator, Boreham Wood are 2-0 up over Barnet. And that's a key game, of course, as they try to both get into the league. Here's Jesus, played him round the back, but Fofana just about gets hold of him this time, but the offside flag was up anyway. And it is going to be a free kick away to our left, and here's the change, and it's going to be Trossard off and Martinelli on. And I'm sure Azpilicueta and Fofana are delighted about that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, then you look who's coming on, Martinelli. I mean, what I would say is he could put on almost anybody, Mikel Arteta, and it's not going to change the scoreline, not in a negative way anyway. So it's going to be interesting to see what Arteta does. But you talk about the managers, and I mean, the expectation can't be any lower. So I think Mauricio Pochettino, I personally think that they should have got whoever they want, they get him in now. And they actually see in a day-to-day training sessions and then matches as well, you know, who has a heart and who doesn't, who wants to play for the Chelsea badge and who doesn't.
Scott, a manager's not coming in now. If you was Mauricio Pochettino, you wouldn't want any part of this.
I would.
I'd
want to come in. No, it doesn't matter about the record, Perry.
For managers.
That's cosmetics.
So why isn't he in then?
I don't know. I've no idea. But if you're top manager, you want to come in now and you want to sort this out, because if you come in the first day of pre-season when there's no real pressure, it doesn't matter in pre-season, but there's no pressure. You find out about the players now. And from now to the end of the season, a top manager would come in and say, I'm going to look at you, and if I don't like you, you're out of here. It's as simple as that. Listen, the squad is bloated. They have to get rid of players. Why not come in now and realise who you should get in?
I think he'll know. I think he'll know a list of players. He'll know who he wants in.
He needs to see them on a day-to-day basis.
Kovacic into Havertz and then plays it out to the left-hand side. Chilwell picks it up for Chelsea, who are on a rare attack. Sterling delivers it to the far post. Zinchenko's alert to the danger. Gets there ahead of Havertz. There's a collision between the two. The ball's recycled by Enzo Fernandez, who lifts it into the 6-yard box. It might run through to Sterling. He air kicks the ball. And it breaks out to the far side. The Chelsea fans on the far side, they get furious about it. There's already been little arguments between one or two of the players. The fans getting a little bit narky as well. They know how bad this performance has been. If he is watching from on high, looking at the way that Chelsea have been performing over the last couple of games, that list that Mauricio Pochettino's got is probably 31 names long. Here's Martinelli down the left-hand side, playing it towards the midpoint of the Chelsea half. It's into Zinchenko. Then back to Zinchenko from Jorginho, and then all the way to the halfway line. It's Arsenal 3, Chelsea 0 on Talksport with Now Sports. And don't forget that with Now Sports you can stream all the Sky Sports action like Arsenal-Chelsea live for $11.99. No contract, search Now Sports.
I actually think the reason he's not come in, Pochettino, is because you got the owners who want to have a bit more power than they should. Again, the art of good management is delegation. Know who you want to get in and let him manage. And I think they want to interfere. I mean, I don't know, of course, but I think Pochettino is actually saying, look, I want this and I'm not signing on a dotted line until I get it.
Here is Ødegaard, up towards Jesus. Edge of the area is Saka. Then on to Jesus again. He picks his pass out to the left-hand side. The ball elegantly drops at the feet of Martinelli, who takes on Azpilicueta. Plays it against the Spaniard. It goes out. It's going to be a corner kick to Arsenal. And the hunger is there from Arsenal to go and get at least another goal in this game.
Yeah, just got a little bit tight there for Martinelli. He's trying to go on the outside of Azpilicueta. He actually defended well, made sure that he didn't commit himself, got a good block in with his right foot for a corner for Arsenal on their left.
It is a corner on this near side, which Martinelli is going to take. Again, those tall centre-backs, the slender figure of Granit Xhaka as well, goes towards the back edge of the 6-yard area. And they look to try and disrupt the Chelsea defence, who again have to mark zonally. Ben White comes trotting in towards the near side, and he's trying to upset the apple cart as the ball goes in towards Kepa again. Doesn't get great contact on it. A slip by Saka. The ball is run loose by Kovacic, and now Chelsea can counter-attack with 4 on 2, and the blue shirts are steaming forward, and Conte is one of them, and he looks to try and release Madueke and hits it against his back. and then there's like a whole carry-on film of calamities inside the 6-yard box, including a bit of Arsenal calamity as well, and Madueke just tumbles into the advertising hoarding, and it's an attack that sums up the night for Chelsea.
I think it's catching. I think Arsenal defensive frailties came in there. They're just like, that was like Keystone Cops.
It was I don't know what they were trying to attempt to do there, Chelsea, but as Conte had such a brilliant attack, there was 3 options. He just needed a sensible pass into an open part of the penalty area for one of those blue shirts to run onto. Instead, he tried to go almost in the tightest packed Arsenal area that there was, and it ended up hitting the back of Madueke.
Yeah, it was the wrong ball to play, wasn't it? But good defending again from Arsenal.
Saka down the right side, gets towards the edge of the box, cuts in past Enzo Fernandez, who just about recovers to touch it away, and it goes out to the far side. He's hurt himself now, Fernandez, and Chelsea play on. Havertz plays it to Azpilicueta. Madueke has an option on this near side. Chelsea continue despite the fact that they've got a man down. Madueke runs up towards the edge of the penalty area and tries to take on Xhaka. Does that, gets beyond Jorginho, then plays it into N'Golo Kanté. Arteta said that he thought Chelsea would come here with something to prove tonight. Not sure they've done that. Here is Thiago Silva into Kovacic. Joe Edwards has just called back one of the Chelsea substitutes as the ball goes in towards the near post. Madueke gets there and heads the ball into the net, and Arsenal concede. The Chelsea fans go wild over on the far side. Aaron Ramsdale is absolutely furious. Gabriel thinks he has been hurt in the process and is screaming in agony. The ball came in towards the penalty area, and it did sort of bobble up in front of Madueke, who tried to steer it in with his right foot and almost fell into the ball, and it went past Aaron Ramsdale, off Gabriel, I think.
Do you know what? That was a superb run from Madueke. It really is. Just timing his run perfectly. Great ball from Kovacic in behind the Arsenal defence, and he takes the touch. It's a difficult one as well. It's bobbling a little bit, but he still gets himself in the right position. Gabriel comes across. Aaron Ramsdale dives one way, the ball goes the other. But that is all about Madueke and his run. Really good ball from Kovacic. We're not going to see a comeback, are we?
Really bad defending from Zinchenko.
It's untidy. It's so untidy, the goal.
He can see Madueke when he's just open out his left shoulder. So therefore, you have to go with the run because there's no pressure on the ball. Zinchenko just lets Madueke run past him. He said the ball bounces up. He sort of bounces it over Aaron Ramsdale. That's when he catches Gabriel. Mikel Arteta will be going absolutely apoplectic because he will be devastated that Arsenal conceded. Arsenal can't keep clean sheets here at the Emirates.
Do you know what I was saying before the game about I wanted to see Madueke get at Zinchenko, because Zinchenko, as good as he is technically and on the ball, defensively he can be got at, and it was a really good ball in behind, a wonderful finish as well. And you just sort of thought the Arsenal defence, I think really almost this whole second half, we were expecting them to come out again and go for it again. They haven't. And they've just let Chelsea need to get a second goal before we can say they're in this game, because they have been a million miles away.
Well, they did have the Saka shot that went wide. They had one cleared off the line as well, Arsenal, in this second half. But
that was from the corner, though, Sam.
Goals do change games, don't they? You know, ultimately, and in this situation, especially with Arsenal having knowledge of the fact they've given away goals and leads in previous week, just maybe it might creep into the back of their head. They need to put their foot back on the gas, Perry.
What it does, it just puts that little bit of element of doubt into your mind when you're cruising at 3-0, you said there, comes back to 3-1. It's a complete complacency from Arsenal, no pressure on Kovacic. Zinchenko falls asleep, so just a little glimmer of hope from Chelsea.
3-1 to Arsenal. Shrewsbury Town 2-1 up against Bristol Rovers in League One. That game didn't really mean anything in terms of the context of the final places in the division. We'll have Talksport 2 across the whole of the final day of the EFL League One season on Sunday. That's Talksport 2, which you can download via our app. Just get the app, you can flick between the two stations at will. Arsenal have a corner in response to Chelsea getting what looks to be a consolation goal. Left-footed in towards the near post, flicked on, travels through the 6-yard box, and it's going to be Martinelli who gets there first. He steers it back to the edge of the area. Zinchenko whips it back towards the far edge of the box. Gabriel seems to have recovered from his ailment, heads the ball on. Kivior goes down under pressure from Fofana, and it's cleared away by Chelsea, who are going to make two substitutions in just a second. Mudryk and Gallagher about to come on. Nelson and Tierney are coming on for Arsenal as Jesus breaks away down the left-hand side, and it's into Martinelli, back to Zinchenko. We're not going to have another humdinger of a game, are we, like we had on Sunday, like we had last night at the King Power Stadium? Well, you never know. Chelsea would have to completely revamp their entire performance to get back into this game.
Sam, there's been a couple of times, though, from corners from Arsenal. We had the attack from N'Golo Kante, who picked out the wrong pass, where Jorginho got back. That was 4v2. There was another situation there where it gets cleared. It was a 3v2 situation. So Arsenal just got to make sure that they keep their composure, keep their concentration.
3-1 the score to Arsenal, live on Talksport. Gallagher just adjusting his headband, tucking his hair behind his ears as he prepares to come on. Here is Ødegaard, now over the halfway line, turning it out towards the right-hand side. And now Saka takes it up for Arsenal, who lead as they look to head back towards the top of the Premier League. Maybe just for a night. They've spent so many nights on top of the Premier League table this season that they got used to it, really. Here is Ødegaard running through the middle of the Chelsea half. He plays it out towards the right. There was no challenge on him as he released Saka. There was a better challenge on him. Kovacic turns and brings it away up towards Havertz. Challenge comes in from Kivior. Kivior's done well. Not that he's been up against much. And it goes back to Jorginho.
You could have played centre-half tonight, Sam.
I'm going to try and take that as a compliment, but I know it's not.
I think he's more of a sweeper, don't you? I can't see Sam like smashing people around and getting above people. I think he's more, you go and win that and I'll just sweep up around you.
He's actually a left back.
Yep, it's true.
Is that last pick in the playground, was it? Left back than the goalkeeper.
Second to last, Perry. Here is Martinelli over on the far side, and he's trying to switch and turn the ball in towards the middle of the park. Arsenal keeping possession well here, leading by 3-1, live on Talksport on this Tuesday evening in North London. It was a beautiful day in North London. 56% possession, and a lot of that has been surrendered in the second half by Arsenal. 14 shots to Chelsea's 3, 8 shots on target to Chelsea's 2, 6 corners to Chelsea's 1. Still, the ball hasn't gone out of play, and the substitutes have been warming up for quite some time. Gabriel stretches and inflicts a foul on Azpilicueta. Now the substitutions will take place, and Mudryk and Gallagher and Nelson and Tierney will come on. It'll be interesting to see how Chelsea change it, which players they decide to take off. Enzo Fernandez is coming off, obviously not feeling great. And Gallagher takes his place. That probably means that either Kovacic or Conte will play a little bit deeper. The other change is Raheem Sterling for Mykhailo Mudryk. How will that change the Chelsea attack?
No, I think pretty much you've hit the nail on the head there. I'd imagine Kante just to drop in and Gallagher to push a little bit further forward. And Raheem Sterling, well, I don't recognise him. I'll be honest with you, I love him as a player for club and country. This season has been really tough, and tonight is, you know, when he's been on the ball, he's lost it. He's had a couple of air shots as well. You know, you're expecting someone with his experience to, I'm not playing well, but find a way to do something in the game. And he's one of those senior pros that just haven't stood up so far.
I don't think Enzo Fernandez will need a shower. Can you remember him actually getting himself on the ball? Can you remember us in commentary saying Fernandez is on it, he's like dictating play, or he's going close down? He's just been like a passenger for the whole game.
Do you know the biggest disappointment for me? Obviously sloppy goals to give away.
Ødegaard picks it up, plays it on to Xhaka. Xhaka switches it out to the wide right. Saka takes it on, stabs it into the path of Jesus. Ball towards the near post, blocked by Chilwell, out for a corner.
The biggest disappointment for me is when I looked at Xhaka, Ødegaard, Jorginho up against Kovacic, Kante, Enzo Fernandez, I thought, wow, that's going to be a really good battle. Obviously you win the games in both boxes, but you control the game from midfield, and I don't think there's one player that can actually say, you know, Kante's maybe just has run around a little bit, but the other two just completely bypassing this game.
Talk about being damped with a faint praise. He's run around a little bit.
It's the best I could do, Sam, honestly.
Well done then, Golo, you ran. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's been one of those afternoons, as far as Chelsea are concerned. Great evening for Arsenal as they swing a corner in towards the near post. Gabriel rises. There's a foul by him. It's a free kick inside the 6-yard box away to our left-hand side. Is it about time, while we've got a break in play here and 2 substitutions, Nelson and Tierney, that we should all say congratulations to our very own Adrian Durham, who won the ARIA Award for Best Speech Presenter. It's basically the Oscars for radio, and he won the Gold Award today, and about time too. He's been nominated several times. He hasn't won it before. He is the greatest at the gift of the gab. He's brilliant on a Saturday afternoon and during the live football here on Talksport, and congratulations to him. He's been fantastic for many years, but I think he deserves his award.
He is the Premier League, the EFL, the National League Jedi. He would tell you, who was left back for Stockport County, how many games that he's played, how many goals that he scored, where he came from. I've been privileged to work with Aid on, obviously, around the grounds on a match day. It's incredible. His head has got so many stats and facts and figures in it, it's frightening.
Quite simply, he's one of the best broadcasters in the business on every level. And I remember, Sam, we had our podcast sort of day out.
We did, yeah.
I texted Adrian, do you want to come and join us? And he said, no, I'm watching Scunthorpe versus, I can't remember who it was now. He said, I know the Scunthorpe manager and I haven't been to the other ground.
Here is Mikhailo Mudryk over on the far side. Gallagher is coming as a sub, on to Chilwell, delivers the ball into the box, and it's over the head of Azpilicueta, and Jesus chases it down, headed forward by Fofana in towards Conte, goes out on this near side, and Havertz then plays it back towards the halfway line.
He was also taking his missus to the game as well. I said, boy, you know how to show someone a good time.
He kept me up till 2 in the morning last night talking about football. As you can imagine, it wasn't the only person talking, but anyway, Listen,
were you two just talking at each other?
Yeah, pretty much for 3 or 4 hours. Anyway, congratulations to him, well done. He'll be back with us tomorrow night at the Etihad Stadium, Manchester City versus West Ham. Here's Mikhailo Mudryk charging down the left, trying to get into the penalty area, and it's guided back by Ben White into the arms of the goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale, away to our right-hand side. This is Talksport. Got a bronze award, Talksport, for the World Cup coverage as well, so everybody involved in that deserves a big cheers this evening as well. Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1 here. A lot of people in Arsenal red deserve a lot of credit this season too. There's not many representing Chelsea that deserve any credit at all. They have got themselves back on the score sheet, and they've actually, we didn't actually say it when it happened because it happened so fast, but Chelsea have actually scored a goal. That in itself is a remarkable event.
Look, to be fair to Chelsea, they're winning the second half 1-0. They couldn't have been any worse as what they were in the first half, but there has been a modicum of improvement. I think it's a bit that Arsenal might have just eased off a little bit. They've had chances and haven't been clinical. So at least the second half, they can say they've got a little bit of pride back, but the first half was an absolute abomination.
It's now 2 goals in 709 minutes, both of whom have taken a deflection.
And did that take a deflection?
It was scruffy.
It was a scruffy
into the ground.
Yeah, it was a scruffy goal, but look, it's been shocking, really, and Arsenal, without a doubt, have not been the same side in the second half.
Haven't needed to be, though, have they?
They haven't, and Perry's right. Used to say back in the day, the managers, didn't they, go out and win the second half? Well, I'll tell you what, they're winning it 1-0. If for some reason, I don't quite know how, but let's just go into fantasy land that Chelsea are able to create a second goal in the next 5 minutes, the last 10 minutes plus injury time could be very interesting.
Going to make a change here, Chelsea. Hakim Ziyech is about to come on. Chelsea is preparing him. Ashley Cole actually is preparing him. Former Arsenal left back. In fact, the man that Perry owes quite a few glasses of wine to.
On the book sales, do you mean?
Yep. Their book came out in the same week, and the Arsenal fans started a campaign to ensure that more copies of Perry's book were sold than Ashley Cole's, and duly they were.
Well, he said that he nearly crashed his car into a tree, didn't he, when he was offered 65 grand a week.
Yeah.
I nearly crashed mine, my Vauxhall Viva, when I was offered £65 a week. So there's the difference.
Yeah, but the book sales have meant that you're in the Rolls Royce you came up today. I saw it.
My ex-wife was quite pleased with the royalties.
Gallagher out to the far side. Chelsea on the attack. Onto Mikhailo Mudryk, who runs up to the edge of the area. Remember, he was supposed to go to Arsenal and ended up at Chelsea because they paid a packet load more. Here's Gallagher over on the far side. Gets fouled over by the far touchline by Reece Nelson. And it's going to be a free kick to Chelsea, just a couple of yards in from the touchline. To get this delivery right, cause a few problems, you never know.
Yeah, just a little bit lazy from Reece Nelson. Conor Gallagher's not going anywhere, just facing the touchline, just shepherd him out, put his team under pressure.
Corner, free kick over on the far side to be drifted in, I think, either by Mykhailo Mudryk or Ben Chilwell standing over there. Fofana, Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, Madueke, and also Kai Havertz waiting around in the centre, looking for this delivery. In fact, it's going to be left by Chilwell to Mykhailo Mudryk, and still the Chelsea fans serenading him as he sends the ball in towards the near post. It's flicked up. Did it hit a hand on the way through? It's smuggled out for a corner over on the far side. There was a diving, glancing header from Thiago Silva. It hit an Arsenal body and went behind.
John Sam, there's a little bit of nervousness just creeping around at the moment. Arsenal conceding free kicks and corners.
No VAR check, and the corner comes in from Mudryk. It's a higher one, deep towards the middle of the 6-yard box. Taking charge brilliantly there was Gabriel. Great header, gets it out towards this near side. Then N'Golo Kanté slides it out, and now Chelsea want to make a substitution. They're going to take off Madueke and bring on Hakim Ziyech. He's currently Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1, and for the latest odds you can go to Ladbrokes, where right now you can get a bet on Arsenal to win the game. It's 100 to 1 on. The draw is 40 to 1, and Chelsea to win is 125 to 1. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com, 18+, begambleaware.org.
That 100 to 1 might come a little lower if Chelsea are able to nick a goal, as I say, and Perry's right. It's just gone very quiet around the Emirates at the moment.
Ziyech has been introduced to the game very quickly. Conte's won the ball on halfway. Jesus has put himself about, and then Nelson does well to win it. Jesus seems to be fouled. That's going to be a yellow card for Kovacic. A tackle from behind.
Should have done that in the first half. That's getting tight. Okay, you've not won the ball, and you're on a yellow card as well, but at least there's a bit of physicality going on now with Chelsea. Arsenal definitely just sat back in this second half, played it anywhere near the intensity of the first. And if Chelsea were in a good vein of form at the moment, or Arsenal up against a very good side, things could be a lot worse.
Well, fans have stuck with Frank Lampard. The fans have stuck with Chelsea so far this evening, when it could have gone completely the other way. They celebrated their goal with gusto, but Frank Lampard said his eyes were open when he took the job on, and his role was to try and bring performance and good feeling back to the group. Very difficult to do that in a short space of time, but he did also talk about Arsenal, the evolution from a team under Arteta who defended deep and sort of clawed their way through games into what they are now, which is a really good high-pressing footballing team that create a lot of chances and score goals. And he talked about their process of that, and how it sort of worked. It was a great example, he said, of how that sort of process has been done well. Arsenal just being a little bit casual and giving the ball away, but it took patience. It definitely took patience. They gave him a lot of scope, didn't they? Arteta was given the option to get rid of Aubameyang, stripping him of the captaincy, despite the cost that it certainly did end up costing the club as a whole. And patience might be the way forward with the next Chelsea manager.
Patience is okay if you can see that the manager has a philosophy and he has a vision. And Mikel Arteta always goes on about his non-negotiables, and that was your attitude in training, your attitude in games, on and off the pitch. And Arsenal could see that. And to be fair, beginning of last season, lost the first 3 games, hadn't scored a goal, bottom of the league. And the game here I can remember against Norwich, when Aubameyang scored from about 6 inches.
Yeah,
that was
1-0.
Yeah, that was his sort of tipping point. If he'd have lost that, who knows if they'd have been as patient. But then when he started winning games, then he started to get more authority himself, and he will be in charge of who comes in and who doesn't. That's when you know the manager has total control of the playing side. At the moment, Graham Potter didn't have it. Frank Lampard hasn't got it. It's not his fault because he's not his players. So when Pochettino comes in, he's got to be in total control of who comes in and who goes out, because if he isn't, he's got no chance.
Ødegaard has the ball for Arsenal inside opposition territory. 82 minutes on the clock. Arsenal sort of just killed off that little bit of a fight back from Chelsea just by really taking a sting out of the game. 3-1 the score. There's only 8 minutes left now. And not even Frank Lampard believes there's much chance of Chelsea coming back in this one. And Tierney sending it forward high into the air down the left-hand side. Arsenal getting the job done in the first half, absolutely ripping Chelsea to shreds. They could have had many more than the 3 goals that they racked up before the break. Azpilicueta keeping Chelsea on the ball. Kovacic moves forward into that centre circle, plays it to Conor Gallagher, who spreads it further wide for Chelsea, so the wide left position. Then it comes infield to Mudryk, who then plays the ball down the left touchline, looking for a chase on by Chilwell, who felt he was fouled. The referee said no. Reece Nelson gets on with it, and Arsenal play out.
He did well there, Reece Nelson. He made sure that he tracked his run up, kept with Chilwell. Chilwell ended up just up running into him.
4 versus 3 in Arsenal's favour. Coming forward on the right hand side, it's a bit wide for Nelson, who just about keeps it in. He moves towards the edge of the penalty area. He's engaged by Gallagher, goes past him, then interrupted by Chilwell and goes back out the other side and has to turn away and give it to Jorginho. Still Arsenal put pressure on. Oh, they played around Chelsea too easily. Ødegaard has wandered into the box, left-footed, drives it towards the near post, saved by Balaga, and then cleared out on the other side. And then Fofana appeared to nudge Reece Nelson to the floor inside the area. Referee said nothing, goal kick. Surely they'll have a look at that.
They probably will, but no one's really gone for it and claimed the penalty. He's just said now that there will be a VAR look. But how can Martin Ødegaard get that amount of time and space inside the box to turn, run with it and shoot as well? And Fofana, no, it's never been a penalty, that one. He's got the ball.
What happens there is, even before that, Granit Xhaka over on the inside right position, he's in 10 yards of space. So the 2 players are the most dangerous, especially from the first half. Chelsea haven't tried to counteract that. You said there, Ødegaard gets in, gets his shot. In the end, it was a good save from Kepa down low to his left-hand side. This is just game management now from Arsenal.
Yeah, and that's something that obviously they were criticised for in the game against Liverpool, the game against West Ham United, and in some senses even the game against Manchester City. But they're making a change here because Gabriel has got a problem, and he's been nursing that for a little while, and he's going to have to be replaced by Rob Holding. Thomas Partey's coming on as well.
Yeah, you talk about game management, Sam, and I don't really think they've been that great in terms of the game management in the second half. I just think they've come up against the Chelsea side that are really, really poor. And how Chelsea, when you look at the first half, are kind of winning this second half, I think shows how poor Arsenal have been in the second half as well. They won the game in the first half. You know, so you wanting them to do the game management, pass it around, control the tempo. They haven't really done that, and Chelsea have had a chance to try and get back into this match. They've just not been good enough.
So what happens, Scott, when you're playing, you do just ease off it. When you're 3-0 up, you just ease off maybe a yard, 2 yards. You shouldn't, but sometimes you sort of switch off. Because I think that
they had a first
Chelsea...
sort of 10-minute spell, didn't they, where they had a couple of chances. If they'd scored 1 or 2 more, you wouldn't have been surprised. But since then, they haven't gone full throttle.
Yeah, and there's another 2 gears that Arsenal can go up. And also as well, you come into the end of the season, subconsciously you think, oh, we're 3-0 up. I'm not going to quite go and close down. I'm not going to, make that run because I'm just going to conserve some energy.
I understand that in terms of intensity, but then you keep the ball. And I don't think they've kept the ball as well. Look, they haven't had to be great in the second half, and it looks like they are going to go on and win this game pretty comfortably. But, I don't think it's been, first half they high intensity, they've dominated, they won the game, and then second half they completely controlled it. They haven't.
Well, Fofana's not happy about being taken off. He's been replaced by Chalobah. And Chelsea have given the ball away over on the far side. Oh no, there's a foul. And it's going to be a Chelsea ball against Ben White, opposite us on the far side of the pitch. 86 minutes gone. You're listening to Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1 on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Be interesting listening to Laura and Ali tomorrow morning on Talksport Breakfast. Laura very much a Gooner. Ali with a little interest in Chelsea, let's just say it like that. And he's here tonight, actually, Ali McCoist. And they've got Gabby Bonhor with them from 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Jermaine Beckford is coming on. And you two will be on the programme tomorrow morning as well.
Really?
Bright and breezy.
All right. What time's that?
Has no one told you?
It's news to me.
It says here, confirmed guests tomorrow, Minto and Groves.
Early night tonight, then.
Yes. You get straight back to bed, you. Here is Azpilicueta. Back to Chalobah. And then all the way to Kepa Arrizabalaga, who sends the ball forward just in front of the 18-yard box to Thiago Silva. Well, Manchester City, I don't think will be quaking in their boots, but they will know. They will know that Arsenal are still there. They're not going away lightly. They're not going to be shrugged off with any amount of ease. They've been consistent all season, Arsenal, because they're a very good football team. And they will have to keep winning, City. They play tomorrow night live on Talksport, 8 o'clock against West Ham United. Not ever an easy tie. Here is Ziyech for Chelsea, down the right side. A little flick by Azpilicueta. Tries to get it back again, down by the byline, but it was overhit by Conte and it dribbles behind. And it's away for a goal kick.
He's been very good in the second half, Azpilicueta. We talk about leaders and, obviously, we don't know how many years he's got left at Chelsea.
He's got another year after this one. He signed a 2-year contract in the summer of last year.
But, the point is he's coming towards the end of his Chelsea career for sure. And yet, so physically he's not quite at the level that he used to be, and he's up against some very good players. I just feel, again, he showed that determination and grit in the second half that we would have wanted in the whole game from everybody.
Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1. The Arsenal fans revelling in the delight of taking Chelsea to the cleaners tonight. For the most part of the game, especially the first half of the game, they were all over Chelsea and they did a job on them. Chelsea incapable of responding. You wouldn't expect them to. They're a team that don't score goals. They're on the worst goal scoring form in a very long while. Terrible amount of goals this season that have been racked up by 3 different scenarios, 3 different managers. Here is Gallagher leaving his foot in, doesn't quite get hold of the ball, and Partey will clear. He pokes it through the middle. Ziyech wins it back for Chelsea. He plays it out to the wide left position. Conor Gallagher picks it up. 89 minutes on the clock, Talksport, and it's 3-1 to Arsenal. Chelsea trying to find a way past the Arsenal defence. They've won a free kick, and it's on the left side, about 6 yards back from the edge of the area. Need to be a little bit careful here.
Thomas Partey hasn't got himself into the pace of the game. He gave the ball away 10 seconds earlier, then he's just given an unnecessary foul away against Ben Chilwell.
He's gone off the boil recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, he even in games sometimes you can have a 5-10 minute spell where he keeps giving the ball away, loses concentration. So it wasn't surprised he was left out today for Jorginho, who actually played well, especially in the first half, just kept things ticking over.
I think the time he gave the ball away against Declan Rice that made it the penalty for 2-1. I think that was an absolutely key moment in the season.
Yeah, that will have been the turning point. Here is the free kick for Chelsea. Makayo Mudryk and Ziyech standing over it. 5 minutes of added time at the end of the 90. If this goes in, here's Ziyech in towards the near post, away by Jesus. Makayo Mudryk gets it back again. He picks it up, turns it back onto his right foot, delivers a cross into the box. Tierney stands tall, heads it away. Chilwell forward, help back on. They've got it. Ben White sends it forward. Another free kick has been given against Martinelli on Chilwell. It took Rob Jones a bit of time here. Ashley Cole is absolutely furious about something and is making sure everybody knows about it.
I think it's because my book outsold these. Got to let it go, Ashley. It's a long time ago, mate.
The free kick is wasted by Chelsea and Nelson has got it, and then Ødegaard tries to come forward. Kovacic wins it back again, and then Makayo Mudryk travels with it, leaves it for Kovacic. Kovacic turns, spirals, edge of the area. Ziyech gets to the edge of the box, left-footed shot over the top of the crossbar. Just invited Chelsea just to have a late little burst, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely, and we're just seeing a few Arsenal fans not happy as well in what they're seeing, just giving the ball away. And I mentioned Azpilicueta, I'd just like to mention Ben Chilwell. I think he's probably been Chelsea's best player from the start to the finish. That's not necessarily saying much, but
he's certainly been their biggest goal threat.
Yeah, absolutely. And, he kept Saka reasonably quiet, and Saka's been taken off. He's tried to get forward when he can, but from that position, it's not always easy to affect the game.
Arsenal still hunting, still hoping, still dreaming of an incredible turnaround. The Premier League is littered with those stories of hope and fantasy. Could Arsenal make more history? It's difficult for these Arsenal fans to dream that, but they have stuck with their team, and that has been part of their relative success, I think, over the last 18 months.
Also, there is a good atmosphere in the Emirates at the moment because there's a synergy, because the Arsenal fans are seeing a lot of young Arsenal players who are playing for the shirt, they're playing for the badge. You can't say the same thing about Chelsea. That is the difference.
It's not the difference, it's one of many differences, unfortunately, Perry, isn't it? Recruitment's better, management's better, there's loads of differences. I mean, at the moment there is a massive gulf between these two teams in clubs, really.
There is, but I agree with Scott. If you looked at the talent in the Chelsea ranks, there's a lot of talent there, but it's whether a manager can come in and drag that talent out of them, and you can never put heart into someone. That's the problem that I think Pochettino's going to have if he comes in.
Well, you look at Brighton, they do so much work on personality before they sign a player. Did Chelsea do that?
I've no idea. They need to look at strikers, so I think they were not able to do that, were they?
Well, here is Havertz trying to brush Kivior off the ball. He shoots left-footed on the volley from the edge of the area, and Ramsdale makes the save down to his right. They will have a striker next season. Yeah. Christopher Nkunku's coming in from RB Leipzig. He's just recovered from injury, and he actually scored a winning goal at the weekend. He's back scoring again, so the next Chelsea manager will have that resource. Whether or not he translates to the Premier League. Chelsea signed a Leipzig striker before, it didn't quite work out.
Well, that's true. I mean, he can play anywhere, can't he? Not just as a number 9 and more of a wide player at times. Interesting to see what they do with Lukaku.
Chilwell gives the ball straight to Nelson on the edge of the area. Gallagher comes back and fights for it for Chelsea. We're into the final knockings of the game now. The goals coming in the first half for Arsenal. Ødegaard twice, Jesus. Madueke getting one on 66 minutes to maybe give Chelsea false hope about getting back into the game. They come forward with Mykhailo Mudryk charging towards the edge of the area, into the box, past White, still got hold of the ball, delivers across, Ziyech coming at the far post, Havertz is there to get something on the ball, but not enough to trouble Aaron Ramsdale, who drops on the ball, holds it into his chest, and will clear away as we reach minute 5 of stoppage time.
Yeah, not bad wing play there from Mudryk over on the left hand side. Ben White's got to make sure that he keeps on his feet, he slides in, commits himself, just dinks it to the far post. So Havertz coming in, and then I think it's Kivior just made sure that he challenged him so he couldn't get a decent header on it.
Mudryk's got the best pair of curtains I've seen since you had them in 1997.
94, I think it was, yeah. I mean, but he's scared, Ben White, of his pace, that's why.
Here is Ødegaard, Xhaka, edge of the D, sizing up an opportunity, parried away by the goalkeeper down to the left. Nelson keeps it alive, recycles across, Jesus coming in underneath it, doesn't get a clean header on the ball. Ziyech manages to get it clear, and then the referee looks to allow Chelsea to bring the ball away, because I think he was going to pull up there, played advantage. Arsenal win it back again, and Arsenal bring the ball forward. We've played our stoppage time on Talksport. It's 3-1 to Arsenal. A few of the supporters starting to leave now, confident enough of victory for Arsenal that would take them back to the top of the table. That was a late foul by Gallagher over on the far side, which is going to generate him a late yellow card. He's just gone careering into Ben White.
So even though Arsenal haven't been at it in the second half, they still could have scored 4 easily. Kepa's pulled off 3 great saves. You've had Thiago Silva obviously hooked the one off the line. So if I'd have said to you two at half time, by the way, this will be 3-1,
they would have taken it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's still not good enough, is it, for Chelsea?
It's the first 45 minutes, Scott, isn't
Absolutely.
it? I mean, if you're going to dissect this performance, you almost discount this second half. It's all about what happened in the first 45 minutes. It certainly was. And as a result, Arsenal go back to the top of the Premier League. They keep the pressure on Manchester City. They may have been down after their defeat at the Etihad a week ago, but they are not out, not yet. They are continuing to slug, to scrap, to hope that City make a mistake. Chelsea were pliable opponents at best. They have been all season, really. But Arsenal needed this. After 4 matches without a win, they put 3 points on the board and take first place in the Premier League once more, even if it's likely to be just a temporary stop. It's finished at the Emirates. Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1.
Well, it was men against boys for most of the game here at the Emirates tonight. Arsenal respond to a run of 4 games without victory to really embarrass Chelsea in that first half. 3-0 up at the break. They controlled a lot of the second half to see the game out. Chelsea did win it the second half, if you like, but ultimately Arsenal getting the job done and leaping above Manchester City, going 2 points clear at the top of the Premier League, having played 2 games more. Remember, City host West Ham live and exclusively here on Talksport tomorrow night. Chelsea in disarray. They stayed 12th, 6 points off the top half. Elsewhere tonight, Shrewsbury beat Bristol Rovers 2-1 in League One, mid-table obscurity for both of those 2 teams. Talksport 2, though, will have the final day of League One for you on Sunday. You will not miss a moment. It also finished Barnet 1, Bournemouth 2 in the National League. The winners of that game will face Notts County in the semi-final and then have the chance to earn their place in the final at Wembley on May the 13th. Sports Bar on the way for you. Is the title race still alive? Should Lampard stay on? 03717 223344. Jermaine Pennant and Jamie O'Hara will be with you shortly. But Scott Minto, you have to say it was a better second half from Chelsea. It included just a second goal in 6 games, by the way. But ultimately it was too little too late.
Not good enough, Hugh. Simple as that. The game was finished at half time. So yeah, go out and win the second half, and yes they did, but it doesn't mean anything because they've come to the Emirates here and it's been an absolutely shocking performance. No one got tight, no one ran about. They're playing like a bunch of individuals, and I think almost any manager in the world would come in and struggle here. I mean, I personally, and Perry and I had a chat, I just think they should make the decision who they want. If it is Pochettino, get him in ASAP, get him to understand we talked about the hearts of these Chelsea players. You know, we always gave our best. We may not have put always in great performances, but we always gave our best. And it just feels like, I know when you're lacking in confidence, you're always half a yard short all the time, but everybody was just dropping off and not picking up at all. It's not good enough to say they're just numbers in the box. No one was anywhere near Odegaard for his first 2 goals, and as soon as they went 2-0, it was finished. Chelsea were never going to come back.
Well, in the first half, I did say it was like a training game where you have the first team against, not the reserves, because reserve used to kick the first team, probably against the youth team, and they're told not to close down, not to tackle, let the first team get in a rhythm of passing. And it's not as if Chelsea don't know the way that Arsenal are going to play. They know that Granit Xhaka's going to go and play in that inside left position. They know that Odegaard is going to come and play in the inside right position, and Kovacic was supposed to pick up Odegaard. Fernandes was supposed to be picking up Granit Xhaka. They got nowhere near him. So you 1v1 battles, Chelsea lost every single one. Maybe you said about Chilwell and Bukayo Saka, that was probably even in the first half. But the Chelsea players went over and clapped the Chelsea fans, right? I find that an embarrassment, because I would say, don't clap. If I was a fan, I'd say, don't be clapping me. Make sure you run around. Make sure you put everything you can into that game, and they haven't. They were, as professional athletes, they were an embarrassment in that first half.
I've got to say the Chelsea fans won't be happy to see a couple of their players smiling and joking and having some hugs with the Arsenal players as well, because Wesley Fofana went over and had a chat with William Saliba, injured at the moment but was on the side of the pitch at full time. They were catching up. Mikhailo Mudryk and Alexander Zinchenko, countrymen as well, with a bit of a cuddle. The Arsenal fans wouldn't have wanted to see Gabriel, their centre-back, limping quite heavily at the end of that game there as well, given the current situation with Saliba already out. Kivior came in for his first Premier League start tonight, wasn't really troubled, to be perfectly honest, but of course Rob Holding came off the bench as well, and we will see if that is a big factor for Arsenal going forward as well. But it was important tonight, Perry, just finally, that Arsenal got back to winning ways after 4 matches without victory in the Premier League that may well have seen the Premier League title slip away from them. But the positivity inside the Emirates Stadium, that was great to witness once again, despite what has gone before, despite the lack of a performance, if you like, against Manchester City at the Etihad. Everyone here seems very much together, and that bodes really well for the future.
Yeah, there's a good synergy from the fans to the players, because they actually can see that the players are playing for the club, they're playing with heart, they're playing with passion. Totally opposite from this bunch of Chelsea players. And if Mikel Arteta had to pick a team that he would want to play after drawing 3 and losing against Man City, you'd have to say Chelsea would be that team. That's how poor that Chelsea are at the moment. So it was a complete storm in the first half, where there was no resistance from Chelsea whatsoever. Arsenal just got a little bit sloppy in the second half. They just took their foot off the gas, probably by 10-20%. So Frank Lampard will say, I'll guarantee you, say in his interviews, first half totally unacceptable, second half was more like I want my team to play. That's what we'll say, but that'll be paper over cracks, because there's no heart in this Chelsea side at the moment.
Yeah, it was very clear for all to see that Chelsea were playing nothing. That was the approach of their players and their application during that game, and they leave the Emirates having been beaten 3-1 by Arsenal, who head back to the top of the Premier League table. Let's quickly pick our man of the match with Car Finance 24/7.
Man of the match on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7.
Sort your finance first, so you can choose a car with confidence.
Search Car Finance 24/7 today.
Representative APR 19.9%. Car Finance 24/7 is a credit broker, not a lender.
Scott, what do you think?
Look, there was 2 key players for Arsenal in that first half, and they were finding pockets of space, and they created the 2 goals, Xhaka and Martin Odegaard, and I'd probably just give it to Odegaard because he scored those goals. Both are very good. Chelsea couldn't get anywhere near them, and by the time they sort of finished with Chelsea and made it 2-0, it was game over. So Martin Odegaard.
Yeah, I'd give it to Odegaard. His 2 goals were 2 brilliant finishes. Brilliant crosses from Granit Xhaka, and Odegaard, before his first, he just started to get on the ball. He just started to find that little pocket in that inside right position and become influential. Nobody picked him up as he was getting ghosted into the box, so I'll concur with my learned colleague.
OK, gentlemen, thank you very much. That was our man of the match from today's game with Car Finance 24/7. You can search Car Finance 24/7 today.